Yeah, my mom, ever since I was a kid, she was, like, obsessed with Sonic. And we'd get, like, the smoothies and shit. So, like, that's all I knew forever. I didn't know they had, like, freezes until I was, like, 12 or 13.
Oh, really?
And it was like, oh, there's, like, fucking hot dogs and shit.
There's, like, tons of stuff, yeah. Yeah, I didn't realize that it was more than, like... I knew they had, like... appetizer stuff.
Yeah.
And, like, hella drinks. Like, that was, like, their big thing. They were like, we have a billion drink combinations or whatever.
Right.
But I didn't know they had, like, food until I actually drove there myself.
Yeah. Yeah, so much food. And, like...
Yeah.
I mean, their big thing was, like, chili dogs forever.
Right, yeah.
And then they have, like, waffle fries and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was waffle fries. Maybe it was a different shape. But they had some kind of fry that was, like, their specific. But they also have the Sonic Ice.
Yeah,
And
that's
Sonic
their,
Ice
like,
is the
real
thing.
claim to it, yeah. They really capitalized on that.
I want one of those ice machines, but they cost, like, $4,000.
Really?
Yeah. But they only make the barrel cubed ice like that.
Yeah, that, like, super, yeah, specifically crushed.
Yeah, styrofoam peanuts, but ice. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Praise the Run. I am Ben Lucky, Mr. Ben Show. This is my co-host, Patrick McKinstry, Litter Dud, comedian extraordinaire. How are you today? It's been a week.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Yeah, I hit record. That's what. Yeah, I hit while I was talking
I
about
was
Sonic.
stretching. I got my eye crumbs out.
We have quite a bit of new listeners now. Thank you everyone who joined along with the Game Awards, and thank you for watching between my personal channel upload and then, of course, the actual podcast channel. Thank you everybody who commented as well. Yeah, there was some people. We were a little bit we were a little bit quiet, so that was one comment we got. I don't know. I mean, maybe it was just the setup or something like that. Or I mean, I'm gonna have to do something kind of like dampen the noise in like this little section.
Yeah, it's a pretty big room.
Yeah, you
The
guys.
ceilings are low.
Yeah, I can do something with that, but the ceilings are also like office tile ceilings, so those all punch up. So there's not like the upstairs. It's pretty insulated from the upstairs.
Yeah.
At least they can't hear me as well. But I can hear everything downstairs. Like everybody walking and everybody talking, I can hear from the upstairs down here, but they can't hear me up there.
Oh.
So it's like I could do something about that, but really when I record and when I'm asleep is when I care about it. And I work grave shifts, so a lot of the time that I'm awake, everybody's already asleep anyway, so it really doesn't matter.
Right.
But there's like that select 4 hours where I'm awake, enjoying my morning, while everybody's getting home and rustling and bustling. And if I happen to want to take a nap or something like that, I can still hear everything. Like yesterday, I went to take an hour nap, and I could hear everybody walking and stuff. I was like, this isn't happening. But yeah, anyways, people commenting and stuff, it being quiet, so like I'll have to adjust levels and stuff. That was like the first recording I had done in this room. So yeah.
Yeah, and we're still only using this.
Right. Well, this picks up our voice. There's a lot difference in our voice and how they carry too.
That's true.
So like having it in between us, like you could sit closer to it and it picks you up a lot better. But me, I mean, I'm pretty loud, so.
Yeah, I need to just get my own little like
lapel mic.
I have one. We just need to find a way to
use it. Yeah, I'd have to
hook it up.
sync up the audio.
That's right. Yeah, that's annoying.
It's not a huge deal. Like I already sync up the TV with it. So it's not like the biggest thing. It's just another step.
It's just
The biggest thing is like, well, now I gotta like take that audio and then download that and then put that in, and it's just more time. It's not a big deal. It's always just time.
Right.
Yeah. Fuck. What was last week? Last week was the Game Awards.
Wait, that was it? That was the only complaint? Was we're too quiet?
Yeah. It wasn't that we were too quiet. I think it was just the overall video between the Game Awards and us. Like, I could have probably boosted it a little bit more.
Yeah.
It's one of those things.
Maybe
where,
they're too deaf.
Well, I boosted it, but it was, I don't know.
No, it happens. I think the mic was like way over there too, wasn't it? Like across the.
No, it was right here, but
like
we had like
over.
pizza and
That's
stuff
true,
like that.
yeah.
Like, we were more kicked back, definitely. It was
some more pizza.
Yeah, it was a long show. But today, on top of all the trailers that we will talk about that happened at the Game Awards, we do have a bet going. So pizza is on the line, or whatever kind of dinner that we would choose. As long as it's reasonable. I don't mind dropping $20, whatever. But yeah, we have that on the line, so that's always a possibility. We probably won't get that today, but I have all of those written down. I pulled up the article of the of all the winners while you were walking in. And then let me pull up what was at the Game Awards trailers wise.
Man, I don't even know. How do you know what the order is?
Because it's listed the same way.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's just like a list of games.
Yeah, they just went through and bolded the winners.
Oh, nice.
The same
how
list,
convenient.
so
okay, cool.
It made it easy.
That's cool.
Game Awards 2024, all the biggest announcements. So this might not have all of them. I assume it. Maybe it will. Is there anything specifically that you want to talk about from the announcements
from the Game Awards?
Yeah. What let me, before I start just driving down a list of things that happen, like, is there anything specifically, The Witcher 4, Borderlands 4,
I mean, I'm just,
anything
I'm pretty excited about Borderlands.
Yeah.
I'm a part of some Borderlands groups, so we're already, doing our discussing or whatever about what things could be and whatnot, but
right.
Nothing too crazy. I don't like trying to get too deep on the first trailer. I'm not sitting here pausing
this is
frame by frame, or like getting too deep into it as if it's going to be like.
Yeah. Let me pull up the press release because we do have some written material on it. There is a new villain.
Yeah.
Obviously the art style that we had thought had changed is not the case once they actually show gameplay, but they did show some gameplay. Whether that's meaningful to you or not, I don't know. Because it seemed like just more Borderlands.
I can't imagine the gameplay's. Besides improvements and stuff, I can't imagine that they've changed it too much. It's pretty much been the same the whole time.
Yeah. This is what it says on the website. Borderlands 4 brings intense action, badass vault hunters, and billions of wild and deadly weapons to an all-new planet ruled by a ruthless tyrant. Crash into Kairos as one of 4 new vault hunters seeking wealth and glory. Wield powerful action skills, customize your build with deep skill trees, and dominate enemies with dynamic movement abilities. Break free from the oppressive Timekeeper, a ruthless dictator who dominates the masses from on high. Now a world-altering catastrophe threatens in perfect order, unleashing mayhem across the planet. Ignite a resistance and blast your way through mechanical monstrosities, bloodthirsty bandits, and vicious beasts. Amass an arsenal of death-dealing firepower to wreak havoc as you fear your way across Kairos. Fight solo or in co-op with up to 3 players and immense sci-fi action. Yeah, don't miss Borderlands 4 gameplay debut early 2025. Which, we got some there. Of course.
Again, it's not gonna... it's gonna be sick.
Yeah. Yeah,
Well, Borderlands to me is fun. I mean,
right. So, I mean, like, you liked Borderlands 3. I don't know. Did you get super deep on the DLC or anything like that? I'd imagine. Did you play
I'm pretty sure I played
a lot? You played a lot of
pretty
it.
much all of it. Yeah,
Yeah. Um,
up until it was like mostly multiplayer stuff. Or like, oh, you have to have some friends, and you didn't have to, but it was more like they started like leaning on the
yeah,
here's some events where like
Destiny-esque.
right, and I was like, okay, well, I just play this by myself.
Right.
So
It doesn't say anything about crossplay or anything. So that's kind of a bummer. I mean, like, get with the times. We're kind of at that point where, if you're launching these
right.
3-player co-ops and stuff like that, like, you need crossplay. That's my one critique of it. I mean, I'm not the Borderlands guy. We've talked about how, how I feel about that franchise, and
Right.
but I mean, it's interesting, especially because we get Borderlands 3, Tales from the Borderlands 2, a Borderlands movie, and then Borderlands 4, all within a 3-year gap. Like, there's a lot of Borderlands right now, but the gap between Borderlands 3 and Borderlands 2,
Yeah.
it's like almost a decade. I know they had the pre-sequel, which wasn't the same team, and then they had Tales from the Borderlands 1, just like Tales from the Borderlands 2, again, not the same team. But the gap between 2 and 3, it's just very much a different time and place kind of thing, especially
Yeah.
writing-wise and stuff like that. And then now 3 and 4, not having that breathing room and stuff, it doesn't seem like they learned a lot from 2 or 3, any of those criticisms. It just seems like we're getting more of the same. So I wonder, now that we're a decade removed from Borderlands 2, but then we also got Borderlands 3 so recently that the nostalgia is kind of like worn off. I wonder how
Yeah.
Borderlands 4 will, continue.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it'll just continue to be more,
All right.
just more niche as it
Yeah. This is Gearbox's Golden Goose, too.
yeah.
This is what that team works on, other than publishing, basically. And they did Tiny Tina's, I guess, as well. That's the other thing that came out in between.
Oh, right, yeah.
We had Tiny Tina's fantasy thingy. And so a lot of Borderlands, not all of it great, especially with, like, the movie.
Right,
They're
yeah.
like, please, we got a 4th game coming out. Forget about that movie this year. Which we knew well before, like, when they were announcing it and showing it off in COVID, that it was gonna be whatever,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, we knew from the very first casting call that
right. You give Eli Roth a PG-13 rating for a rated M video game. It's a very strange choice.
Right.
But yeah, I figured Borderlands 4 would open your mind a little, should get the juices flowing, because, like, that is the one. I mean, there was a lot of things here that you would care about, but that's the big thing for you here.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I love Borderlands, so anytime I can play more, I'm
Yeah.
down.
Yeah, no complaints.
Especially a new story, so I don't have to. It's not like I'm just playing more of the same thing and
Yeah. How did
new
you
experiences and stuff.
the villains from 3 versus now with this new villain? You have, like, the streamer villains from 2 or from 3 that were, like, they were kind of in the game but kind of not. They were like,
I feel like it's gonna be another like this. This isn't the actual
villain kind of
villain.
thing.
This is gonna be like the part 1 villain.
Right.
Like you'll defeat him early on, and then
Yeah.
it ends up being something grander. That's usually
Right, because they
what
show
they do anyways.
they show the other planet blowing up and stuff like that, which assumingly that's the planet from the first game, I imagine, because Kairos is not this is a new planet.
Yeah, I'm not that part. I'm not entirely that. I gotta I gotta
read. Yeah, because they showed
catch
that
up on all that stuff.
They showed that in the initial reveal trailer as well with fucking Lilith. Is it Lilith? Her Phoenix thing.
Yeah.
Blowing in the side of it. Assuming that's all because of her. Assuming that they're gonna tie into that, but. Again, with the Borderlands writing and stuff like that, I don't even know if they're even thinking that far ahead.
Right. See, that's I don't know.
They seem like they kind of have that.
They kind of nodded to a couple past characters and stuff in the trailer, but
right. Yeah, Handsome Jack, of course.
Who knows if, how they're gonna tie it all together.
Right. I mean, Tiny Tina was nowhere in that trailer or anything like that. The Claptrap is there. That's the only main character from the first game that we do get in that trailer. We get a shot of Claptrap going, "Wah!"
It looks like it might be like set far enough in maybe the future that
yeah, who knows?
I don't know.
Who knows? Because like none of the technology seems like a big leap or anything. Like,
right, they did try to make it look like a little more like Android-y or whatever, because now the
the people with the arms and
being
stuff
taken over with the. But it's already so, steampunky, futuristic,
right?
As it is,
right? Yeah.
So like I said, it's just the revealing trailer. They just want to like flash stuff at you, so I'm gonna wait until they actually like tell us what's going on before I make too many assumptions. Just because right now, it just looks like it's gonna be more Borderlands, which for anyone who loves Borderlands, that's great. But like for anyone else, it's like, all right, well, I could just go back and play an older Borderlands. So I don't know if it'll carry that. As you were asking, like, will it? I think it's just going to get smaller. It's going to become like people that just really love Borderlands are going to want to play this and stuff. And
yeah, who knows? I mean, Borderlands, to their credit, does sell quite a bit. It's not like a 20 million unit seller, but it is the upper 5, 6, 7 million unit seller, which is still very good. And I don't think that team has necessarily grown too big in size.
Right.
But also Take-Two just bought them as well. So they're under new ownership. They dumped the Embracer. They bought themselves back or sold to Take-Two. We got a lot from Take-Two in this showing with Borderlands 4. Mafia: The Old Country was also here. Not to get away from more Borderlands, but there was quite a bit from them here. Surprisingly, of course. I mean, not really surprisingly, because it's Rockstar, but it is still Take-Two, technically. Is that Grand Theft Auto was not here. Even though it was, of course, there was no reason to even think it would be anything else but most anticipated game awarded to Grand Theft Auto 6.
Right, and of course it's not even
it's not there. But I mean, with the Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer, like this Borderlands 4 trailer that we got is technically the second trailer, and this trailer was more aligned to the GTA 6 teaser we got. But we already got a teaser for Borderlands 4. So I wonder how far into 2025 we're talking about. If we're only, I think they announced Borderlands 4 too early, but it was just to make you forget that that movie came out.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. I think they're kind of rushing it a little bit to not lose too many people from that movie.
Right. And I'd imagine when you announce that as well and you're selling to Take-Two, you're like, we have our thing, our golden goose, we're working on it. Please give us as much money as possible if you're going to buy us. Because, I mean, it looks better, right? If you have the next golden goose down the pipeline, like you have that egg waiting. But
yeah, they didn't really Because even like when they usually, I feel like when they introduce the newer games, they introduce like, oh, these are the Vault Hunters, and this is what they do, and this is this new. There was like no new mechanics, no new.
Nothing.
There wasn't even like any sort of. I guess there was a little bit of lore, but not like.
Yeah, they reference.
It was all just kind of very vague.
Right.
You know?
They reference the new planet and a new villain.
Right.
But that's in the written material. It's nowhere in the trailer. Usually for the trailers, actually, they'll have like that first initial teaser that we got over the summer.
Mm-hmm.
That it was really not that long ago. It was July or whatever, whenever Summer Games Fest was. I'm pretty sure it was that. Maybe it was Gamescom. But they usually will have a teaser and then they have their own Borderlands event. That's usually where, and that's where we get the Randy Pitchford meet. My disdain for him has came from those events specifically.
Yeah.
With like the trailer not working and then he being on stage trying to kill 45 minutes doing magic tricks
gosh,
trying to get the trailer to work. Like almost every time the trailer breaks on them, which is funny. Especially when he's out on stage for it. I almost, like without a doubt, I had almost said like this trailer is gonna break. But I stopped myself at that time because I mean like it's the game, so it's the Game Awards, so like they got their shit together.
Right.
Gearbox has these little events usually when they announce these things, or has an event planned for this. But back then, Gearbox was on their own. Borderlands 3, 4 or 5 years ago, when they did announce it was a different Gearbox then, and then a very much a different Gearbox back when they announced fucking Tales from the Borderlands and all of that stuff.
Oh yeah,
as well.
Because
even though those were different developers, like Gearbox still has like oversight on the property. Yeah. I don't really have much to say else. I do want to call it like Morderlands or Forderlands. Or something like that.
Yeah.
That's always fun.
They definitely didn't try anything. I mean, they've never really done anything with the title. It's always just been the number, but...
Right. Well, I mean, like, you had the
but they didn't even... Yeah.
The pre-sequel, the Handsome Jack collection, Tales from the Borderlands, like...
Right, yeah.
Tiny Tina's Wonderland.
Maybe something will come out about it, like, later. Right. Again, I feel like it's all very vague.
Right.
So we'll see. Maybe it'll turn into something else.
Right. The first big game that I do want to talk about that got announced was Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. Ninja Gaiden. It's been a very long time since we've gotten a Ninja Gaiden period. I think Ninja Gaiden, I forgot how to say it. It's like yabai or it's not yokai, it's a different word. That was a weird kind of like... it looked almost like this art style, but it was definitely a lower budget title.
Yeah.
The last few Ninja Gaiden games before that were 3D. It has been a very, very long time since we've gotten a 2D side-scrolling Ninja Gaiden game. Like, I would say 30 years is what we're talking. Like, SNES, NES era. It's been the last time a Ninja Gaiden has looked like this. Because when it came back was for the original Xbox. And those were more of... They're not necessarily Neo, but that's where that team would eventually go do, is from those games. But yeah, and brand new 2D Ninja Gaiden, super fast paced. It is level based. It's not Metroidvania, but this is from the minds of Blasphemous, a very well established really Metroidvania. Yeah, it looks super fantastic. Good, yeah. If it's anything like Blasphemous or old Ninja Gaidens, it will be very difficult. But
right, yeah, is it going to be like Blasphemous, like play style and map style and stuff, but just with a Ninja Gaiden skin, because that would be cool.
Yeah, that's that's 100% what I'm thinking. It'll be something closer to that.
But like minus. That's what I was saying. This is like Blasphemous's Sekiro. This is their Asian.
Yeah, and Blasphemous 2 was pretty recently. I can't remember if that was. I think that was last year. They did a DLC this year. But they came out with a new game this year as well that was not like Blasphemous. It was more an asymmetrical kind of thing.
Really?
Yeah, I forgot what it was called. It didn't do as well as Blasphemous, but it was like they're experimenting. They're doing different things other than just a Metroidvania, Soulsy kind of thing. Even though this still has those kinds of elements. This is a new character. We are not playing as Ryu. We just saw there Ryu goes to America in the first 2 games. So assuming that Ryu is in America at this time, this is taking place in the village where Ryu is from. Which is this is why he left. It was like overran with demons and stuff like that. So he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna leave." I forgot what the rest of the lore is, but there's something to do with this town has gone to shit, so I need to leave and go save what I can.
Meanwhile, this guy's just running around trying to
just keep
Satan. Things at bay.
Yeah,
he's like freaking Ryu.
Yeah.
Running away. Now I gotta clean this whole thing up myself.
Right. I'm excited to see what kind of monsters they do. I know we don't really get a lot of stuff, but Blasphemous is a beautiful game. It's also very pixelated as well. But their monster design is almost unmatched when it comes to pixel.
And the cutscenes are going to be great too.
Yeah.
That's another thing I'm excited for, just the cutscenes.
Right.
Blasphemous does pretty good.
And I'd imagine like Blasphemous is very stooped in Catholicism and religion. I wonder if they're going to get deeper into like yokai, Japanese, like traditional folklore and stuff like that.
Yeah, what kind of I'm sure I feel like it'll be pretty deep.
Yeah, because I mean, right,
as deep as they're allowed to get with that title. I don't know.
Well, I'd imagine like they have the clear to kind of do whatever. I mean, design Bible wise, like they got it on point, but demons and stuff like that seem pretty generic from what they've shown. Like they're not like anything special. It just seems we got a lot of fodder enemies, and then we got one, assuming like the beginning boss of the game kind of thing.
Oh, that drop down, yeah.
But other than that, like I assume we're gonna see more. This also seems like this is the back half of 2025, kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
I assume this is like in October, is what we're looking at for that. Also in this pre-show, we got One Move Away, as a new first-person game from Ramage Games and PlayStack, the publisher of Balatro. But it's about packing up, going to new houses and stuff. Ramage Games. I don't know if this is necessarily the devs who did Unpacking. Let me see.
Might be inspired by.
This is their first game. Yeah, just inspired by it. But PlayStack publishing more. I had never heard of PlayStack up until Balatro. So I mean, hey, we got a little bit of that this time around, where like indie devs now flush with cash, putting money into other indie devs.
Yeah.
Hello Games is also publishing a game that got announced here. I forgot which game. I can't remember what it was, but they're publishing something. They're the No Man's Sky people.
Yeah.
And then last was it. It wasn't the Game Awards. Maybe it was. I thought it was Summer Games Fest, but we got 2 instances of that, of like the Among Us devs, like, hey, fucking Play Sloth or whatever is doing very well, so we are going to
Oh yeah, some very different.
Yeah, they have like 8 or 9 different games. You have the Blumhouse studio coming in and being like, "Hey, the indie film market, we've done very well with this in film, where we have a $4 million budget for The Conjuring, and it does $180 million. See if we could do that for games with like." Fear the Spotlight is out now.
Yeah.
That's a 2-person indie dev game, and it's done very well for them. So I'm excited for the future of games in that aspect of like, we don't just have indie games just making indie stuff now. We have like indie devs like supporting each other now. Like we have this whole cycle now of like
a community.
Yeah, we don't need the AAA space, and the cash from that is nice, but it's almost non-existent right now. Money costs more than ever. You can't borrow money as easy as it used to, because a lot of it was like, hey, you're working on borrowed money. We're gonna give you, several millions of dollars to pay your studio and like keep the lights on and stuff like that, assuming that you're gonna put out a product that's gonna do 4 or 5 times more. But that money costs more. The margins between games have gotten a lot smaller. Like what we would think is the budget for Spider-Man 2 is somewhere in the $300 million range, and it's probably made like in the $500 million range.
Right.
And that is very small percentage wise, especially once you take away like marketing budgets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And with something like a game like Spider-Man or any of those other licensed games, Disney specifically, a lot of the time you have to pay them for the license.
I was going to say, just the licensing alone.
And then they don't even give you the budget. Like Disney doesn't give you money. That's all, you got to pay them for the license, you get the license, and then you got to keep the studio lights on yourself. And then, on top of that, then you got to give them a cut of every sale. So the ability to make your money back on a license like that is a lot different versus, like, the Blasphemous team going and getting Ninja Gaiden. Or the fucking Dead Cells team getting Prince of Persia. That was at the beginning of this year. Yeah, stuff like that, where those licenses all have as much clout in the gaming industry. Probably even more clout than what a traditional licensed game would be. And those licenses are a lot easier to obtain. You can do a lot more for them. And then you have a lot more good grace with that. Yeah. If you make a bad Prince of Persia game, it's like, damn, well, next one will probably be better. If you make a bad, fucking whatever licensed game nowadays, like, if Batman Arkham City or whatever was bad, or Suicide Squad is a great example of that this year, of, like, that game costs so much money, it's insanely bad, it's done insanely bad, like, it's done serious damage not only to Rocksteady as a developer making these Batman games, but it's done a lot of damage to WB as a whole, the Suicide Squad IP.
Yeah, like, it didn't even make it onto the Game Awards.
Oh yeah, no.
That's how bad it was. It didn't even get into a single...
No way.
A single category, and that's like crazy because it's supposed to be a big deal game.
Right. I mean, yeah, the budget for Suicide Squad was like in the $400 million range. And again, we had a few of those of like Concord was also like that. That's not a licensed game, but that's a chasing the trends kind of thing. Which is another whole issue in the gaming thing. The live service chasing trends. The trends that you're chasing, today are not going to be the trends 3 years from now, or in Concord's case, 8 years from now.
Right.
It's a lot different. And then a lot of people making games back then are basing it on these other games that are coming out, but then nobody knew Fortnite would be as big as it was, right? Or Apex or PUBG or Call of Duty or, you know, like these games that amass so much time and ask for so much of a person. It's something like 60% of video games played right now is games that came out within like decade, like the last 6 years, like
I bet, yeah.
or there are over 6 years old.
That's my biggest issue is I'm constantly trying to play
Rocket League,
the new stuff, and then I look back and I'm like, yeah, and then trying to catch up on the old stuff. It's just like a constant, like I'll get to a game, especially if it's a long game, I'll get like 80%, like Liza P, for instance. I got like 80% of the way there, and then I started playing something new, and I just haven't even gone back to it. And now I'm so far detached from it. It's like, would I even be able to pick it back up again? I don't know. Right. I mean, obviously, I would try. I wouldn't just start from the beginning right away, but
100%. And that was the Elden Ring thing for me.
Yeah, well, same with Elden Ring. I've actually been. That's like another one I really want to tackle again. It's like right there, but then I got into Fortnite again, so.
Damn. Yeah, I mean, Fortnite,
mostly because I wanted to try the new, because they made the new, like, 5v5 first-person thing. They put, like, the alpha out, so I wanted to try that.
Yeah, let's talk about that, because that was shown off here a little bit. We did get quite a bit of Fortnite stuff here. Fortnite OG is out. The original Fortnite. We talked a little bit about that, I think, at last week, because that had been announced right beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, ballistic mode is out, which is their version of a Counter-Strike.
Yeah.
I've seen some mixed reactions to that, but it seems, I mean, just like with anything with theirs, is like they put out a thing, they experiment to all living hell, they finally put it out, and then they start iterating on it immediately.
Right.
They start taking things away, putting new things in. I'm very surprised at, like, what their ability has been to adapt. Like, they have a new Lego thing out that's different from the other Lego thing. It's more of a GTA, Animal Crossing kind of, like,
that one is like
full city kind
I feel
of
like
thing.
they have a lot of ideas for it, but they haven't actually started anything yet.
Right. They gave you the playground, but they now need to start adding, like, the slide and the swing set and
exactly
stuff like that.
Right. Yeah, it's very bare bones.
Yeah.
But I've started doing that.
It has its own in-game chat and like, a whole bunch of weird stuff that you wouldn't think for a console game or a game that's the majority of its user base is actually on mobile. It's crazy stuff. They announced another thing too, didn't they? It was like 3 or 4 modes. I thought they announced another mode. But then again, like I
don't remember.
I don't think that NBA thing is out yet. That the Disney thing's not out yet. Like, they still have stuff in the pipeline that's still very big, like more akin to the Lego thing versus the ballistic thing. And then they, of course, Snoop Dogg was there. He had his performance and stuff like that.
Right.
And then he's coming to the game. They announced quite a bit. So you played the ballistic mode? You like it?
I played a few rounds of it this morning, actually. Yeah, it's not bad. My only thing with, like, Fortnite in general, that the kills or, like, the shooting just never feels very satisfying.
Yeah, it's not punchy.
Yeah, there's no, like... maybe that's what it is. There's just, like, when I'm playing, I don't feel like I'm really connecting. Even when I like kill someone, I'm like, did I? Like, it doesn't feel like, it's just weird. And so even in that mode, like, it doesn't, like, I got like 2 kills. Like, it just doesn't feel like the same as like when you're playing like Black Ops or something and everything.
Yeah, that should be a 1-2 shot max game where, like, 1 on the head, 2 in the body.
Yeah, I mean, it's game. Pretty. Yeah, it's not too crazy. It's similar to. I haven't played. I don't know what game it's supposed to be mimicking.
Counter-Strike.
Counter-Strike?
Like OG
I
Counter-Strike.
I don't think I've played Counter-Strike, to be
No.
honest. Maybe.
You've definitely seen like videos of it though. I mean,
Probably,
it's like,
yeah.
It's team deathmatch, but the
Right.
sweaty. I mean, or free for all, but the sweatiest version of that.
And it's like in a small like house or something, right? Okay,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
5 players, something like that.
Yeah,
It's
so I
very
follow
small
I
maps.
follow a guy on TikTok that talks about that game.
Yeah.
It's cool. So you start off at the beginning and you have to like buy your weapon before each round.
Yeah.
And then as you progress, you like earn points, and then so you can buy better weapons.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, I guess maybe if I played it and I learned the map better,
Yeah, that's a big
that
thing
would
with
feel
this.
a little bit better. But also, like I said, I just even when I got the kills, it just has a weird feel
Right.
to it. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll just keep playing
I've
Black Ops, but I've also been trying to play like regular no build Fortnite.
Yeah, right.
Because that is pretty fun. It's still it still doesn't, the kills don't feel super satisfying, but like overall, like just like kind of riding around and
Right.
doing
There's
stuff like that. It's
all
such a
the
huge
Easter
map.
eggs.
It's so ridiculous.
Yeah, there's like side quests.
Right, that's what I've been doing.
Yeah.
There's like a giant turtle on the map right now, so I've just been like looking for that.
Yeah.
And fucking,
Yeah.
So it's just like a silly little. All right, and I don't feel upset when I die because there's just so much going on. I'm just
Right.
like, oh well, you know.
And it's
like,
super easy to get into another
it's like
match.
the least. Yeah, it's the least. Just I never feel aggro playing it. Even when I get really far, like I'm usually in the top 10 just riding around, because that's the other thing, you can just kind of bounce around,
Right.
not even looking for a fight, ping off one every once in a while.
Right. The fight stays pretty consolidated once it gets going, so you
Right.
have like some range, but the map, like you said, is pretty fucking big.
Yeah.
So like a lot of the player base you can see when they're jumping off, like, oh, they're all going that way, so I'm gonna go this
exactly.
way
That's
try to
the
get
other
some
thing.
experience points, and like
There seems to be a few like populated areas where a bunch of people die, and then it's
Right.
kind of like slow. One thing I like is at the end, the like final circle moves into the storm, but then the storm like rotates around it, so like
okay,
you're not like
that must be new.
so like it'll be in this, so like, does that make sense? Like there'll be some storm, and then the new circle will like be in the storm. So now you have to kind of like either choose to go in the storm and wait for the circle to clear off,
Yeah.
or just like follow the border of the storm until it meets up with the new
Right.
circle or whatever. It's fun. It's like a new, like just slightly new iteration of the final circle. Like,
Yeah.
So you can't just camp in the center of the eventual circle. Like it's always. So that's cool.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I'm glad
yeah, that's
you're
fun.
enjoying it, because I mean we've talked about it quite a bit. Let's just like diving back in. It's one of those things where it's like, oh, that's such a cool update. I wonder what that's like, and then it just leaves your mind because they have something else next week.
Yeah, I just needed something, because Rocket League's just become so laggy
Right.
that it's not very satisfying anymore. Like,
That's a bummer, because
and
like
I just meh.
that's the same team now. Like it's Fortnite and Rocket League, like, and they're different development teams, but they're in the same house now.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe
so it's very strange.
I mean, like I said last week, they are talking about putting
Yeah.
out Rocket League 2. So
Basically,
it's probably
yeah.
just a matter of time until.
Yeah. Yeah, any minute now. Like, I would imagine 2025 is Summer Games Fest time.
That's something I was expecting.
Yeah. I would imagine that's also a shadow drop. That's not something they build to. That's like
They
Rocket
might just
League
put that
2 is out.
Into the Fortnite
yeah.
thing, you know what I mean?
1,000%. It'll be free to play. It will be in the Fortnite launcher. It will be its own thing. And they will probably discontinue Rocket League original.
And it's all tied, so like it already remembers every, like when
All
I
your purchases.
when I get a Rocket League reward, sometimes it'll give me a notification like, oh, you got this skin in your Fortnite.
That's cool.
Blah, blah, blah. So it's already connected. So,
Yeah.
like, they would be able to just take all your stuff.
Right.
And shut off the first game.
Yeah, that's cool. Because, like, that game's been around since, what, 2015?
Right. The fact that they're able to do... Yeah, I think that's really cool.
And all of the... not everything is cross-compatible. Like, the Nintendo stuff. Specifically, you can only get on a Nintendo console, and you can only see it if you're on a Nintendo console. There's like a Samus helmet, a Mario, and a Luigi. I think there's a Kirby.
Oh, interesting. So that kind of stuff, maybe they might have a workaround. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if it's all connected, I assume it's all taken care of in the back end. But with that stuff now being a decade old, I don't know.
Who knows, right?
Who knows, right? I mean, like, they don't have to honor it at that point. Like, I'm sure in their terms of service or whatever, it's like, this is a limited time as long as the game is out. And then and once the game is not out anymore, it gives them the leeway to, like, kind of cut their ties with that kind of stuff. Because also, like, selling those things, you have to give Nintendo a cut and all that stuff. You know, like... That's been a huge thing with, like, Epic specifically trying to battle Apple in the background and stuff like that. It's like, okay, well, marketplaces aren't allowed on your storefront, and now they are, but then we got to give you a certain amount of cut, and then now is that cut too much? Epic's been, as much as money as they have, they've been, like, the forefront of fighting against stuff like that.
Yeah.
Not that they need to worry about how much money that they're making, because they're making plenty.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've been like, I mean, Fortnite wasn't on the Apple Store forever because Epic was like, the cut that we're giving you is fucked. It was like 30% or something. It's a lot. And then, you know, that Fortnite version versus the other Fortnite version versus this Fortnite version, and then you have everybody has their own adjustments of, like, how do you split a $3 microtransaction, you know?
Right. Yeah.
So I wonder as well if they, now that they put it all in one thing versus it being Rocket League Nintendo version, Rocket League PC version, because that's how it was originally as well. It was like Rocket League only came out on PlayStation first.
Right.
And then it started making its way to other things slowly.
Yeah, because they had, like, the special, like, oh, you have the new Xbox version. You get the Warthog from Halo, because it's an exclusive.
Right.
Because we want you to feel cool.
Right.
Also, yeah.
Yeah, and it launched on PlayStation first as, I think it was $14, and then it was a PlayStation Plus game. And that was the deal that they had worked out, where if you had a PlayStation Plus subscription, you just got it. And that's why it blew up the way it did and everything like that.
Yeah,
and the story is old as time now, but, yeah, that's the other thing of, like, probably having it on a different SKU now is a lot different from 10 years ago, or even several years ago when Epic ended up buying that team.
Yeah.
I'd imagine it's a lot easier for Epic to have it all under one umbrella now. So no matter what, you're just... the Lego money, the Fortnite ballistic money, whatever skin, you know, it's just all in
one. All tied. Because they already give you already have the Rocket League racing and stuff, and you already have, like, your little customizable car underneath the same menu as your Lego figurine, and the same menu as your, you know, Fortnite figure. So it's already there. Yeah. So like you said, I wouldn't be surprised if it was just like we wake up tomorrow and Fortnite 2's on the menu.
Right. I know. I synced up the Xbox, but I guess it hasn't been recording this whole time. Sorry, I didn't cutting you off. I was just playing one of my YouTube videos. I was like, oh, that's not what's on my screen. I can fix that real quick.
I didn't know what you meant.
Not a big deal.
I thought you meant, like, the video.
We only played one trailer, so it's not a big deal.
Yeah. I thought you meant like the video. I was like, no way, we didn't record anything we talked about.
No, we did. No, that the main thing's recording. No worries. It's not really like they need to see the Xbox, but if we're talking about trailers, it's
a nice visual,
right? Especially because we're only on YouTube right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another pre-show thing. Speaking of Rocket League, we got Rematch from
the soccer game.
The soccer game.
I am actually pretty excited for that. That looks pretty cool.
Sifu devs, has been nicknamed Fifu. Is the new name for it.
Oh, nice. That's cute. I've honestly been wanting a basketball game like that.
Yeah.
For a while.
Yeah.
It being soccer isn't much different for me. That's pretty cool.
Right. So I was listening to a podcast earlier and I forgot which one, but they pointed out a great thing of sports games and stuff like that, and why this one is different. Because you would think it's just your regular soccer game, right? Which it is. I mean, there's a lot of cool slow clap. That studio has their own spin on it, of course. But when you play FIFA or you play these games, you're not playing as a single player. You're playing as a team.
Right.
Versus Rocket League, why this is more akin to that. You're playing as a singular car on the team.
Right.
Or this, you're playing as a singular person. A team. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think this has a lot of... This will be a big deal.
I think, yeah, because it's similar to Rocket League where it looks like it'll be a lot of rotating. You're not going to be forced in any specific position necessarily. I don't think there'll be just a goalie.
Yeah.
Because that's not stimulating in a game.
It looks like it is.
Does it?
Yeah.
Because what was it? Didn't we say it was 4 or 5 people maybe per team?
It looks like 5-on-5 is what it is. So there's not a lot of writing on this. It's just unannounced next project, Rematch, Rematch, arcade soccer, walls around the field, allowing for trick shots. So that we did see that where they were bouncing the ball off the invisible walls and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I imagine that it's going to be that the teams are still small enough that it's going to be similar to Rocket League, how it's going to be rotating.
Yes.
You're not going to be stuck in the goal the whole time unless you choose to or whatever.
And I'd imagine
maybe not. It depends on how fast paced and...
Well, I'd imagine that if you're a goalie, and you want to play goalie, that's... I'd imagine they'll have that.
That's
where,
true,
you can... And I would imagine maybe not right away they will have a thing where you can play as randos, but if you want to set up, this is my rematch team, they will probably have, some kind of...
For sure.
These are my 5 guys, each one of us do
That'll
this
be
one
an
thing.
esport in a couple years.
You're right. No date on it, of course, which is a bummer, but I'd imagine later half, maybe summer 2025, August time frame. There's also no price point, of course, right now. I imagine it will be free to play, with different jerseys to buy or everything, but it could easily be just a $10 buy-in or something like that.
Yeah.
I think Sifu was $40. It wasn't a full price game, but it was more expensive. Sifu is fucking excellent, dude. Sifu is so cool. Other than that, in the we got a few other things in here. Slay the Spire 2. I guess when I didn't know they had announced it previously, but they had. But I guess the big thing is that it's coming into early access in 2025. They did that thing where it was oh, is it gonna get delayed? Nope, it's still 2025, and it was all right, sure, man. Dave the Diver in the Jungle. This is a full-blown sequel. It's not an expansion. This is another Dave the Diver game.
That's cool.
Yeah, another one, late 2025 is what that is. There's probably November time frame. Um, Warren Spector has announced his new game, Thick as Thieves. It is a kind of free for all go heist game thing is what they showed, where like you have 4 different characters all running in to go get a specific item.
Oh,
Somebody
right.
gets the item, and now everybody starts chasing down that person kind of game. Warren Spector is the pretty much the guy who he didn't create immersive sims, but he's one of the, I would say, founding fathers of it. He's known for being the director of Deus Ex and stuff like that. But later, his later half of the games, people are mixed on with like Epic Mickey with him and stuff like that. I thought this was the BioShock dude. It's not. Not the BioShock dude. That's another guy. I get them confused all the time.
Nice.
It's also an immersive sim game,
Right, yeah.
dude. So it's like, is this the System Shock guy? No, it's the Deus Ex guy. But I don't know. This is a co-op thing that I think will be forgotten, like almost immediately.
Yeah.
He did some other game that was also like a run-based parkour thing, kind of like this. It came out, I think it got like 3 out of 10s. It was like the higher end of that.
Well.
Shadow Labyrinth, we'll talk about that real quick. That is based off the Secret Level show that is now on Amazon. Secret Level we saw during Gamescom. It's like the Love, Death, and Robots, or Love, Sex, and Robots. I forgot what the name of that is.
Something like that, yeah.
That team is known for doing like amazing CG work in the video games industry as well. So now they're running with that whole thing. And making a full-out compilation. Each one of those episodes were like 5 to 15 minutes long.
Oh, wow.
I haven't watched any of it, but one of the episodes that they showed off in the trailer is the Pac-Man episode. Shadow Labyrinth is a new Metroidvania-style game from Bandai Namco where a hooded figure must traverse a dangerous world with a robot that looks and acts suspiciously like Pac-Man. Pretty much, it's like the... Do you know, is it Phantasma? Phantasma, the horror movie with like the ball knife thing. Have you seen those movies before?
I don't think so.
They're like old, they're like super old horror movies from like the 70s, but they're all like hyper gory, violent things.
Okay.
The Pac-Man ball kind of reminds me of that in the episode where like he has like razor teeth and stuff.
Yeah.
But in the game, it looks... I mean, like I said, I haven't seen any of the episodes, so, like, totally be part of the episode. But it seems like the shadow is, like, some demon thing, a demon Pac-Man thing, and the whole consuming, like, souls and stuff like that.
Right.
Like, you remember it was, like, the Pac-Man got, like, really big.
It's like a shadow.
Yeah. Yeah, very strange, but interesting. No development team on that or anything. It's just Bandai Namco publishing it, so it could just be a super throwaway thing, or it could be a okay thing. 2D Metroidvanias, we have 1,000 of those, so like, I mean, this one has an interesting twist, but is it just because of the name?
Yeah, what's it really? What are you really introducing other than? Is this just like a game version of Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, or whatever, you know?
Right.
Like,
yeah. I mean, it's been so long since we've gotten it.
Title, yeah.
This is the first of many announcements, apparently, of Pac-Man. Pac-Man turns 45 next year.
Okay.
So this is the kickoff to the anniversary year, is what they're saying. They will have a bunch of new things. I'd imagine we'll get like a Pac-Man 99, like the Tetris or F-Zero game. I'd imagine we'll get like maybe a Pac-Man movie or a new Pac-Man World cartoon, stuff like that. Who knows how much they'll dive into it, but Pac-Man's been pretty big in the past, and I wonder if they're gonna go down how they used to. This one's a little throwaway, but this Steel Paws game is interesting. Steel Paws is a mobile game coming to Netflix. It was like anime-esque.
Right, yeah.
The Yu Suzuki's name popped up at the end of that trailer, which is the creator of Shenmue. And also would be... Shenmue is what would lead to Yakuza and stuff like that. Just weird that he's working on this instead of a Shenmue 4 or something like that.
Right.
I know Shenmue 4 was having trouble getting funding or whatever.
Huh.
But he was like, when Shenmue 3 was announced in 2014 or whatever, it was crowdfunded. It got its funding. It came out. It was middling.
Yeah.
But a lot of Shenmue proper fans seem to really like it. But then he was like, I also have plans to have up to 9 parts. What the fuck, dude?
Right.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? It was a miracle that 3 came out. What are you talking about? Yeah, where's Shenmue 4? What the fuck are we doing with Steel Paws?
Well, I mean, you know.
Like, somebody give this man fucking $3 million or whatever.
Sometimes we have dreams, but...
$50 million is probably more likely, but...
Doesn't mean we can, like, necessarily, fulfill them just because he said he'd like to do 9 parts.
Right. I mean, it's one of those things where, like, I don't think Shenmue 3 sold amazing, but I think it sold well enough where it would have been like, okay, we could do part 4 and he can end it.
Right.
But...
let's wrap it up, yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Oh, Kiora was a little thing. This is from the developers at Core Keeper, which I had no clue existed. I guess it's around the same thing. But this is a Terraria-like game.
Oh, right, yeah.
We saw that a little bit.
Neat, yeah.
Solasta 2, never heard of the first one, but this is a D&D 5th generation game, just like Baldur's Gate 3.
Right.
Hey, it's a studio doing Dungeons and Dragons stuff. Baldur's Gate 3 did pretty well.
Yeah, why not?
Maybe this will as well. The next big one we'll talk about. Oh, there's 2 big ones back to back once we actually start the main show. We'll start off with The Witcher 4. That's what starts off the beginning of the trailers. I mean, not the beginning of the trailers, because we had plenty, but the beginning of the main show, we start off with this. It's very... Oh, it's coming through the laptop. I don't know, Jeff didn't have a lot of hype going into this. It's a lot of... One of the big things I've talked about over previous shows is Jeff will spoil a lot of what's happening,
Yeah.
Pre-show. He'll be like, this is going to be here, and this is going to be here, and performances by this, and this. And it's like, alright, man, well, like, now I know what's going to happen. I'm just going to wait for the show. I mean, I always watch these, but... it feels like, well, what's the point of sitting through 3.5 hours? That was almost non-existent for this show. Usually he'll also kind of, like, guide the hype, Like,
yeah.
People will start running wild, and then he'll be like, hey, guys, it's not like that. Like, this is going to be an okay year, but it's not going to be that crazy. He didn't do any of that this year. And the rumors... for this year, Witcher 4 was kind of in conversation, but Half-Life 3 was in the conversation of, like, being super possible. The Witcher 4 we had known existed. They had announced last year or 2 years ago that they were working on what would be called the Witcher Polaris, or Project Polaris, assuming that this is still that. This is Witcher 4, taking place right after 3. I shouldn't say right after 3. This seems like to be a few years later.
I'd say a little bit later, yeah. She's aged a little.
Yeah, she has a couple of scars that she didn't used to. But she is Ciri, You're playing as Ciri in this game. It is confirmed. There's been quite a bit of interviews with the director and producer of the game. Easy Allies did like a 30-minute interview. Same thing with Friends Per Second. Like, there's quite a bit of spoken word on this game now. You're playing as Ciri, man. This is so exciting. She is so OP. We could talk about the controversy with this whole thing because, I mean, immediately we said it when it happened. I think this is excellent. The Witcher 3 is one of my favorite games of all time. Playing as Ciri in that game is so cool. Being able to, like, fucking go all over the place. You know, like, you have your teleportation, like, skip mechanic and stuff like that. She's a lot faster than Geralt. But you kind of see that here. She's more agile than Geralt. Geralt doesn't have, like, this... He has dodges, but he doesn't do, like, full-out action rolls and stuff like that.
Right.
Also, Ciri has a lot more magic, where she, rather than using the water as a water spell, she's able to use the water as an energy source and use it to make an energy spark and stuff like that, where she uses a lot of, like, the movement in the world around her to kind of power this.
Right.
Power herself. But yeah, it's a few years later. She's grizzled. It seems like she's still on the road. And like more of a vagabond versus Geralt. I mean, Geralt was pretty vagabondish in 3, but they still had like their homestead. Like, they had the castle. This doesn't seem like that. This seems like very much her on the road, doing the thing. At the end of this trailer, we get a little quote at the end saying that something like a new journey awaits kind of thing. It's been confirmed that voice is Geralt. The controversy about this game, though, is women is woke. We play as women now. We don't want women. That's a controversy. A lot of people coming from the show and stuff, and not necessarily playing the game of 3, not knowing where the story left off, but a lot of people that are... ignorant is probably a strong word, but it is. Ignorance to the franchise only have that concept of the Netflix show that is a show about Geralt, but the Witcher book is a bunch of short stories and stuff like that. And the end of 3 is very much the end of Geralt's, like, big story, right? Do you remember, did you play 3 at all?
No.
Spoilers for somewhat of the end of 3. There's Blood and Wine, so this isn't the end of Blood and Wine, but the end of 3 specifically. You know, you fight the Wild Hunt, the big bad, you save Ciri, and then Geralt kind of either goes home, depending on which love companion you choose. You kind of get, like, this ending cutscene of either him being super sad and depressed, alone in a shack, aging his final years, or you get him happy and, you know, but he's still in that house and stuff, but he's kind of, like, enjoying, like, you know, Witchers live for a very long time, but they don't live forever.
Right.
No, their age is, like, drastically reduced. But Ciri could still, this could be a 20-year gap.
That's true.
But, you know, I don't think it's that. I don't think so. A lot of the nods that this trailer is supposed to be representing is apparently the first game. I didn't play the first game. I don't have that attachment to it. They are apparently working on a remake of that game. Okay. So a lot of what people, I guess, had thought was that this trailer was that. And then they do the bait and switch of Ciri and everything like that. I did not... watching reactions and stuff, people caught it a lot faster than us.
Yeah.
Like almost immediately with the bathtub. It was like some of the most famous images of the game are Geralt like in the bathtub with his feet out. That's the same bathtub. Like almost immediately. Wow. I was like, I didn't think about it until we saw the swords, because he does Igni in the fire, and I was like, is it Igni? And then you see your 2 swords, and it's like, yeah, dude, that's Witcher 4. You're like, there's no, that's Ciri, like that's her silhouette. You know, almost immediately. I don't want to play as Geralt. Geralt's story's done.
Yeah.
We're past that. Ciri's real cool. I think Ciri's character has a lot more room for growth.
Right.
Ciri is still figuring it out. She's not 3 games into her story. You know?
Right.
And by the end of Blood and Wine, you are so far into that 3rd story that Geralt is way past being done with the whole Witcher thing.
And it makes sense too, because like if you like continue a story for so long, you can only explain why. Like even God of War had the same issue where like you can only explain so many times why this character has to like reset all their attributes and start from the beginning. You know, it's like they were just a big badass, and now they have to, we have to send him down to hell, and now he has no weapon. You know, it's like, how many times can you do that with The Witcher? Whereas like this, now you're a new, young, you're fresh again. You're young, learning their abilities and their ways and blah, blah, blah. So it's easier to explain why you're learning again,
The Witcher, thankfully, like, The Witcher 3, you do have a skill tree that you are building out, but technically, if you were to have all of the supplies right away, you would be able to do everything right away. It's pretty good about that, where, like, Geralt has access to all of this stuff, but he doesn't have the ability to make all of the potions yet. Okay. You need to go out and get your ingredients and stuff like that.
Right.
And then you are learning new things and stuff. Like, there are new things to learn.
There's only so many times. Like, by the end of that one, at the beginning of the 4th one, if we were still Geralt, now you have to... It's like, okay, now you know all that stuff.
Right. And
here's even more new stuff you have to learn to make the game interesting.
Right.
Or you're just playing more the same number 3 again.
Right. And Witcher 3 is so massive.
Right.
And that character does learn a lot about his world and how the monsters work. Like, the compendium, the bestiary, like, theoretically is him, archiving all of these monsters and stuff, like, and building out this giant, like, encyclopedia. That's how they kind of, like, get around, like, the Arthur Morgan kind of thing of, like, he's been a cowboy for a long time, but, like, he's seen, 30 different brown birds or whatever, but then he finds this green bird and he's gonna write a little fucking thing about it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that as well in Witcher 3, where like you can get super deep into that shit of like just texts and books and things.
Right.
But yeah, giving Ciri a new thing. Also, Ciri has a lot, like I said, a lot more powers and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's gonna be a whole different fighting style and playing.
Yeah, and like you said, she's still like you said, Geralt knows a lot about what he can do. Ciri's still kind of figuring it out because a lot of her powers haven't existed before. Like there's magic and stuff like that, but Yennefer or Trish that are mages aren't taking rushing water and turning it into an electric spark.
Right.
Like that's some crazy shit. Yeah, real cool. Not so cool is the next thing. I am very disappointed with this next thing. Elden Ring Night Rain is the elephant in the room for me. I'm not happy. I am not happy with this game at all. This is a 1 to 3 player co-op game. No 2 players, just 1 or 3 players. Co-op roguelite game where it takes place over 3 nights for each run, and then each final night you fight a giant big boss, but there's kind of like some small bosses at the end. You gain XP and stuff, you start the cycle back over, it's all randomized, you know the whole shebang with these things. This is not what I want from software to do. I get it. This sucks.
Yeah, it's a weird choice.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine it'll be great. I know you're more into games that are more, I mean, not randomized and stuff like that, but you like a lot more, you have a more open eye to this. This might be your Elden Ring. And I'd be more down to have you take the lead on this one, and then me, like, help you sideline through the game, because also it will be crossplay is a big thing.
Yeah, but I like Elden Ring because of the story and stuff too.
Right.
Like, I don't like Elden Ring because this is like for people that have played it so many times that they're like modding it and stuff. Right. This is like for people that bring their friends in to fight, Margit for the 50th time or whatever. Yeah. Or the people that they've played it so many times they need it to be randomized. A random experience with, like, because it's gonna be random with, like, the weapons you find. It's gonna be random with the bosses 100%. You fight. So it's like random.
Well, it seems like you'll have your starting weapon. Like, I imagine you'll have a class, right? Like how you start
and then you find things as you run around or whatever.
You have
it's just another game for people like that.
Yeah.
That like the sandboxy part of Elden Ring.
Right. So this is a different Limgrave. It's not the traditional Elden Ring map. It is a bigger map, but things on the map will be randomized in location and things. This is not tied into Elden Ring lore. This is a big thing that they wanted. This is a alternate universe thing. Not that, I mean, like, I love the lore of these games. Some people will be like, oh, it's arbitrary and obtuse, so that means there's no lore. There is a lot of lore in Elden Ring. There's a lot of story there, and if you can't pay attention to it, that's on you, but people do care about this. There is Bloodborne characters in here. There's Dark Souls 3 bosses in here. There is weapons from previous games. There is enemies from previous games. Like, that is Lady Maria's outfit, that right there, from Bloodborne. The fucking white sash, like, navy-looking armor. Yeah. We'll see it again. The Firekeeper from Dark Souls 3 is right there. That is the person that levels you up in Dark Souls 3. Nameless King is in this. He'll pop up at any second. This is a weird mishmash alternate universe thing that is, I had thought was like, we're doing the thing that we had thought was happening. Is that there's Nameless King right there.
Yeah.
That's a Dark Souls 3 boss, yeah. That's one of the forges from the DLC. That's a new enemy, so that one's new. That's Lady Maria right there from Bloodborne. That is one of the Cursed Masks from Dark Souls. That's a new boss, but it looks like the dogs from Dark Souls 3. They've always had things that carry over from game to game. The Moonlight Greatsword, Patches is in all of them. Patches is an NPC character, not a game patch. But, This is a bummer, because I thought they were finally doing the thing of, like, hey, we had kind of alluded to all this being together. Now we're finally starting to converge everything. But it seems like this is kind of just an excuse to just jumble it all up and then not have to worry about it later, kind of thing, which is fine. We don't know what team of From Software is working on it. Presumably this is the Armored Core team, and what they have been working on since Armored Core came out last year. Because From Software has multiple teams, I think, or maybe this is their third team. Maybe they have a third team now, which is very possible. I know they don't want to expand too much is a big thing, but if they have one person working on, Elden Ring proper, Shadow of the Erdtree style stuff, you have another team working on Armored Core and Sekiro, and then you have this third team now, kind of doing more weirder spin-off things, like an Elden Ring Night Rain. We were talking about it off air, but Dercine is another weird game that they did in the PSVR style, which is a Bloodborne tie-in. It's one of those things where, like, this is a tie-in, but it's not. They're not saying it is, but that's obviously the doll from Bloodborne. That's Lady Maria from Bloodborne. Like, it's the school that's Bergenworth. Like, stuff like that. I don't know, man. I don't know. I could rant about it for a while. We don't know what this is gonna be, besides of what they've said. Yeah. And there's some written words on it. They had a Famitsu interview. Famitsu is a Japanese magazine that's still very popular there, and it got translated to English. We don't get a lot of those from Software, so like when we do, it's cool. But Miyazaki was not answering this, so it seems like that this Miyazaki is involved very little. This is definitely like a side thing. Yeah. It just is a bummer because I don't know. News-wise, the Katakawa buyout that we were talking about, I don't remember if we were talking about on air or not, but Katakawa, the owner of From Software, has been talking about selling off parts of its company and stuff like that. It's confirmed that Sony is buying another 10% of Katakawa, making it its main shareholder, the top shareholder of the company. Katakawa owns From Software. It's the big mother company around it all, but like any other Japanese company, they don't just do entertainment. When they'll, like, Sony as well is like this, where it's like chiropractor offices, gas stations, fucking restaurants, like a whole bunch of shit, pachinko parlors, like, Japanese companies aren't just one thing. They do web out into a bunch of things. So like when you try selling off companies like this in Japan, you're not just buying one thing, and Sony very much just wants to buy one thing. So I guess this is the closest way they could do that. It's not as big of a bummer as what it probably could have been. Yeah. But I think Sony is going to come in with their dick swigging and be like, we want a Bloodborne 2, and it might be the only way we're getting it is if Sony's like, we need this. Yeah. But yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Fucking From Software has been in the background buying up all their IP and stuff like that. Like, Elden Ring was partially owned by Bandai Namco and stuff like that. They bought it out from under them. They were like, nah, we want that. We 100% ours. Same thing with Sekiro, same thing with Dark Souls, same thing with Bloodborne's the one that we don't know about. Yeah. And I assume that PlayStation wants to hold on to that real tightly while they can. Which is probably why we haven't seen anything of it. I wouldn't have cared for a Bloodborne PC remaster like most people would be. That would have been more exciting to me than this. Wow. Like 60 frame Bloodborne doesn't even have to look any nicer. Just fucking make it run a little bit better. That would have been, so much more exciting. Damn. Yeah. Are you excited? I mean,
I don't feel anything about it, to be honest. Like, I'm not. I mean, I like the games or whatever, but I don't have.
Right.
I think it's just something they kind of just threw together.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems pretty fast.
In the middle or whatever. Yeah, I don't understand like who it's for, because I mean, yeah, like I do get like a lot of people, play the randomizers and eventually,
right.
they have to find new ways to enjoy the game. But I feel like this should have just been, if you want to do this, make it like an attachment to Elden Ring. Make like a Night Rain mode for me to go to, and that would be exciting. I'd probably be excited about it because I'd be like, okay, that's something I can just scroll down to, even if I had to pay like a DLC price of a little extra money or whatever.
Right.
But to make it a whole separate game that's so like not Dark Souls but using Dark Souls stuff is really weird. Right.
We didn't get a date for this. Presumably this is going to be March timeframe. That's usually when From Software releases. It is confirmed that this will be a discounted price. I think $40 is what they said, $39.99.
This is like if they made like
another Shadow,
like a Dark Souls racing game or something.
Dude, well, I mean, Bloodborne Kart was a thing, right? Did you ever see that?
No. Oh yeah.
It was like some fan mod thing.
That was a mod, but that's what I'm saying. Like this is like if they did that, like like they were like, oh yeah, people love Mario Kart's getting really popular. Let's make an Elden Ring kart.
Yeah. Which would have been, I think that would have been a lot cooler.
That probably would have been more exciting.
Yeah, I would be a lot more excited for that.
But even still, like, that's just, it's in that line of, like, so left field silly, stick to what you know, because you're doing it so well. Like, we're not asking you to do anything else, but make us more.
And they've kind of done stuff like this. Is the closest thing to this is that in the Bloodborne there's these things called Chalice Dungeons. In Chalice Dungeons you get a bunch of crafting items, you mix them all together, you put it at this grave site, and then it generates a randomized dungeon for you, and at the end of a certain amount of these dungeons it's a boss, and then you get deeper into these dungeons and stuff like that, and throughout those dungeons you'll find more crafting items to get you deeper into the different levels. And it has its own set of bosses and everything like that, but you start getting deeper into it, like your 60th level or iteration on it, and like it starts all looking the same and stuff like that, just because you have like one hallway that goes left instead of right. Like, the randomization is only randomized so much before you've seen it all, and then now you're just like, well, if I put this rock next to this rock, now it's different, I guess.
Right, yeah.
And then I don't know how much runtime you'll get with that specifically. I imagine that it's not going to be as in-depth as, Hades or one of those roguelites.
Yeah. That's what I mean. I can't even see this one, like, being, like, why would you, like, the replayability isn't
Yeah, I don't know. Unless they just keep dumping bosses into it secretly or something.
Right, yeah, because I don't know. I don't feel like it's as satisfying as like just playing a Souls game.
Right. The buyout thing as well, why I brought that up is because this seems like another thing of like, hey, this is happening in the background, so we need to fucking put this out immediately. Like, before it becomes part of Sony's stay, we need to say this is coming, and this is all us, and, Sony's not even going to get a cut, kind of thing, where, like, also, this is coming to last-gen consoles. We only got a couple of those this time around, but it is PS4, Xbox One confirmed.
Yeah.
So it makes me think that this might have been, like, a Chalice Dungeon equivalent to Elden Ring that just didn't get added onto Erdtree.
That's what I mean. That's what it feels like. It feels like they had, everything's there, and then they were like, oh, let's just throw in a bunch of characters from other games to make it look like a new game.
And honestly, if Night Rain was in Erdtree, I probably wouldn't have touched it. Like, now that it is its separate thing, I will give it a try, because it's my favorite studio of all time. Like, these are my favorite games of all time. I mean, it's like the Chalice Dungeons. Whenever I play Bloodborne, like, I've done the Chalice Dungeons once. I'm never doing them again.
Right.
I replay Bloodborne all the fucking time. But, like, I'm never doing those Chalice Dungeons again because they're not great.
Right.
They're not good. And From Software is great, if not good. So to have anything less than that, it kind of sucks. Mm-hmm. It's a bummer. And it's like, I just don't want to even think about it then. Because, like, everything else, I don't want one thing to taint the excellence of, stuff that I hold up in super high regard.
Yeah.
Armored Core was the same thing when it was coming, where, like, Armored Core was really cool. It looked amazing. I have so much faith in them. But Armored Core is a very niche thing. Most of them don't review very well. And they're very obtuse, even more obtuse than some of the Dark Souls stuff, and because of how granular you can get in those Armored Core games, especially in the PS2 era when things were a lot more primitive in controls. But now they've refined all of that and, like, streamlined it, where, like, you still got super granular in Armored Core, but, like, it feels fucking excellent to control that game. Like, there's nothing that compares to what Armored Core feels like. Not even the Souls wise. Like, that game is fucking fantastic. So yeah, to have something that's not that kind of sucks, but we'll remain to see what it is. This is like I said, probably a March game.
Yeah.
Not full price. It'll be $40. So as much as Erdtree was, it's probably another reason why they were like didn't put it with Erdtree. Is like Erdtree is like another 100 hours of Elden Ring game. So like they're like, one, we don't want to overrun players with stuff, but then like we can just sell this off. I don't know. They like to experiment. It's been a long time since we've gotten something really weird from them. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't know. Next thing, Project Robot. Project Robot is the next. What's his name? It's like Fumito Ueda. That's how I say it. I know it was Ueda, but I don't. Fumito is a Japanese name that I can't remember off the top of my head normally. But this is the guy who created Ico, Shadow of the Colossus, and The Last Guardian. Those are the only games he's ever made, but those are three of the most art house games that are highly regarded, especially Shadow of the Colossus. Epic publishing this is crazy, man. Like, talk about throwing your Fortnite money around. This is fucking dope.
Yeah.
So cool. Give this man all of the fucking budget in the world. Put him on a timeline, please. Put him, like, Last Guardian took way too long to come out. But give him all the budget to make his games look as pretty as possible, because god damn it, do they? We don't have a lot of anything on this other than this is called Project Robot as of right now. And Fumio Ueda is making it. No release date or idea of when it will come. This is probably a 2029 is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Like, we are so far out. People are calling this Mecha Colossus. I get it. This is definitely doing a lot more than what Shadow of the Colossus had. There's a lot more, at least. Not said, but you see a lot more, right? Like, visually, there's a lot more story-wise happening here.
Yeah.
With, like, just an abandoned wasteland with some giant monsters walking around. This is, like, shit's gone down. You have this Colossus mech that you are very familiar with, and for some reason there's this giant explosion of machinery happening, and you fly off on the head of this thing. You don't even get into the mech. That's another thing with this thing. So like, do you just, in order to control the mech, are you just standing on the head the whole time? Like that's a cool, I don't know. Cool trailer. We'll see that in several years. A game that's a lot closer, in March. Split Fiction. We both popped off for. We knew Joseph Ferris was going to be here with his new game. Nobody knew what it was, but apparently a lot of people got hands on with it. Like the day before the Game Awards. So people have played this game. People have said how great it is.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, It Takes Two, but I think looks a lot better. Personally, It Takes Two did very well and stuff like that. The humor is kind of whatever, but the ideas are really cool. The writing is pretty good for the most part. I wonder how in depth this game is going to get. Because It Takes Two, as much as like, it's like play with your girlfriend that's never played with video games before. There's some hard ass shit in that game.
Yeah. And it also had a pretty compelling story.
Yes, it's also very long.
Yeah.
It Takes Two is like 20 something hours long. Which is crazy for one of these games.
Right.
I think. Like a 12-hour game seems like the sweet spot, but people really like It Takes Two, so I don't know. I never had
that's
another
how
person to play
compelling it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
And well, they do a really good job at like they make so many different environments.
Right.
And you wouldn't even really think of in your backyard.
Right.
And they do a really good job of like everything being miniature, but like, working as if it wasn't and stuff.
Right.
And yeah, just so it keeps you. And it's very similar to this where like you're doing a lot of different things throughout that you don't necessarily do again.
Yeah.
Except they were able to make it continuous, and then this one's like a little more sporadic, but
right. It could be just as sporadic because the whole idea is you're going from fantasy to science fiction, and they're fighting back and forth because like you're in this. You work for this corporate company that, instead of using AI to make things, you, like, Animus style, get into this machine, and then you think of your story, and then they sell that as a product. And that's kind of like the whole premise of this thing of, like, these are video game worlds that are supposed to be created to tell a story. For the first time ever, two people get in the same machine, and then now they're battling it out because one's a science fiction writer, one's a fantasy writer. So it looks cool. This is coming out in March. This will also be $40. Just like It Takes Two, you get the friend pass, so only one person has to buy the game, and then you can send a code to your friend. It Takes Two sold like 25 million units. I don't know if this will be that, but I could see it.
I mean, if anyone who played It Takes Two knows about this game, I bet they'll buy it.
Right. And it took... I mean, it didn't take long for It Takes Two to catch on, but it had a very long tail.
And it's one of those games that, like, people are attached to it. Like, even, like you said, like, you got your girlfriend to play it or whatever. Right. That was a big thing. But even those types of people that aren't into games, they got into it because it is a longer game too. So you really do like get into gaming by the end of it. And chances are they're going to hear it and be like, "Oh, there's another one." Like, heck yeah, 100%. I'll play another version. I think they'll do
10 million at least.
Pretty close to just as good, yeah.
Yeah. I think this will be great. EA Originals coming out. This is like, I thought they would have killed EA Originals after Immortals of Avium not doing that hot. But it's they're still going strong. The whole EA Originals thing is that EA funds indie projects, but also doesn't take a profit from it.
Okay.
But I would assume that they made some type of money from this because, like, 25 million units for a budget game, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, budget is relative. Just it's an indie game, but you know, like, it's not a $70 game, and it sold just as well as FIFA. You know, it doesn't have microtransactions, but that's a big swing right there.
All right.
Next was Borderlands 4. We talked about that. After that, we got Clive Rosfield and Tekken. After that, we get a look at Virtua Fighter. Virtua Fighter 6, presumably. They didn't put a number to it, but assumingly it's 6. Fucking Yu Suzuki, back to Shenmue. This is also him from back of the day.
Oh, yeah.
You had Shenmue and Virtua Fighter both take place in the same universe, and then Yakuza later. Virtua Fighter, it's been a very long time since Virtua Fighter 5. Virtua Fighter 5 was I think 2006 Xbox 360 launch game.
Oh, wow.
And they've done a couple of iterations on that to, like, bring it forward, but they haven't made a new one since. So this is a big deal. Virtua Fighter is different from the other ones because it's more simmy, it's more heavy, it's very grapple-y and stuff like that versus like Tekken and Street Fighter. Like, Street Fighter is pretty heavier too, but Tekken especially, where you have like swords and fireballs and stuff. Street Fighter gets a little bit more arcadey as well. Virtua Fighter is like a deeper level from that of like button combos and stuff like that. Like, you're really thinking about shit if you're playing a Virtua Fighter. That is Ryuga Gotoku, though. The Yakuza team making it. Is for the first time ever they're doing a Virtua Fighter.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see. But that's not the only game we saw from them. We saw another game from them that's even bigger. Project Sentry is the next one we got. Ryuga Gotoku wasn't done, however, is also shown in the game trailer for Project Sentry. The only thing that we know about this is it's a third-person action game set in Japan in 1915.
Right.
It doesn't say exclusively that it's taking place in Kamurocho.
Yeah.
But the city that we do see in that trailer is Kamurocho in 1915. Kamurocho being this original city from Yakuza 1 through 6.
Right.
And part of 7. There's some specific, like, the ramen shop is still there. Mm-hmm. Like, and in Yakuza, it's like, oh, this ramen shop has been around for over 100 years. Now we kind of see, like, you know, stuff like that.
Where it all began.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's cool. This seems more Soulsy in aspects where, like, he has a parry and a dodge roll. It's free-flowing third-person action versus, like, the original Yakuzas are pretty heavy brawlers. And then, of course, Yakuza, Like a Dragon, and Infinite Wealth are turn-based. Mm-hmm. So this is another wheelhouse that they're opening up with a fighting game and now a more heavier action third-person game compared.
Yeah, they're expanding their themes.
Yeah. Speaking of expanding, we're expanding a franchise now with Turok Origins, the classic N64 first-person shooter franchise. Turok is being rebooted thanks to Saber and Universal. I don't know if Saber is publishing this. I assume they're working on this. And if that is the case, this would be the Space Marines 2 dev team. The big thing with this, people have problems with, is that it's not a first-person game. It's a third-person game this time around. I could care less on what it is. It looks so cool, man. I don't know what kind of problem that people are having, but
I don't care, and that should just be an option.
Right. I mean, even even if it's not though, whatever.
I don't care either way, but I think it should be.
Yeah. And maybe they will. I don't know. There's still time. There's no date for that or anything. And not even a price, of course.
Yeah.
We got a little trailer for Warframe 1999. That's a single-player Y2K inspired Warframe update. I think it's its own game. So that might be its own SKU. Splitgate 2, we got a new trailer for. Splitgate 2 is the team deathmatch, but with portals. It's been a while, but that game's anytime now. Then we get a weird trailer for a game called Screamer. Screamer is a racing game that gets shown off, and then it had like Speed Racer anime characters.
Yeah.
Well, here's the twist to that game. The new game has an anime inspired and will release in 2026.
Wow.
So it's a while away. But Screamer is a 1993 Windows DOS game. And there's 4 of them, I think, is what I was looking up. So this is a sequel to an old Windows racing game that was apparently super revolutionary for at the time.
Like a top-down game?
Yes, old school racing.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So that's
and
if you know, you know.
Right. And it's kind of one of the first instances of 3D racing, period.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Yeah. So this having a new thing, we didn't get a studio or anything with that, but cool. Capcom coming in on a tear. Capcom has some big bombs here, but this is the first one we get from them. Onimusha, Way of the Sword, looks so fucking cool, dude. We get a little bit of gameplay in there, or what was presumably the gameplay of it. It could totally be just the in-engine graphics CG thing, but it looked like what Onimusha should look like. This is also a 2026 game. This will probably be an October 2026 game, but Onimusha is a samurai game based in the Resident Evil engine from back in the day. And yeah, third-person action and stuff. This seems like they're taking the Neo Soulsy approach with it. A lot heavier combat, maybe more akin to God of War, the newer God of War series. Yeah, where it's third-person brooding over the shoulder. I mean, the modern Resident Evils look like that too.
Yeah.
The remakes, at least. It's been a very long time since Onimusha. The last sequel came out. I don't think it came out on PS3. I think it was a PS2 game. And they did a remaster of the first one not too long ago, probably 4 or 5 years ago now. And it sold okay, but it didn't sell well enough where we assumed that they're not going to port any of the others and probably not going to do another one. Well, they're doing another one, and it seems like they've been doing another one since they released that port, because 2026 is not too far away in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
At least video game development wise, when these games take several years to make. But yeah, it looks good. The next game, not so much. I don't know what to think of. We didn't really see anything from it. But from the Overcooked devs, we get Stage Fright, which is also a split-screen co-op adventure thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. That one looked weird. I mean, Stage Fright. Overcooked 2 was a good game.
Yeah, you love the Overcooked series.
So, yeah, I thought it was great. I mean, I had fun. It wasn't It Takes Two.
Right.
They didn't have that same attachment. It was more like, arcadey or whatever. So it'll probably be similar. You know, people will play it. I don't think it's going to blow up or whatever, but...
Right, but again, we didn't see gameplay of it, so, like, I don't know. It must
That's
be,
true.
like, overcooked, but smaller segments is the only arcadiness. Like, if it's, like, anything like Split Fiction, is it going to be like, oh, if I stand on my button on one side of the screen, then it does something on this side of the screen?
Yeah, I don't think... I'm curious...
It seemed like a lot
how
of that.
Yeah, what they're tying into being on the stage or whatever.
Right. Yeah, I don't... Also, the name. There was nothing that was a stage.
Right.
Other than they were watching a movie in the movie theater, and that was the whole trailer. We're seeing the characters react to a movie screen.
Maybe, like, you're making a movie.
Yeah.
And then at the end you get to watch it.
Right. Yeah, that would be cool. That would be weird.
That'd be cool.
What was... Content Warning. That's the game that's out recently. It's like Lethal Company or Phasmophobia, but the whole idea is that you're provoking these monsters and stuff to get YouTube clips, then at the end of it you make a YouTube video and get to watch it with everybody.
That's funny.
It's all like the local voice chat thing and stuff like that too. Yeah, that very, very strange showing for that game. Not a great one, but I mean that studio does pretty well, so we'll see what it is. After that, we get a little tease, just a little tiny tease of Shadow the Hedgehog's feet walking up to a car for Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. This is one of those ones where we didn't need to see anything because we know exactly what this is.
Right.
It's like the fourth version of these games.
Right. Like, woohoo.
Yeah, the last one did okay. It just wasn't as good as the one before that, where they had one. The last one was just all Sonic players, where it was like just Sonic All Stars Racing or whatever. But the one before that was Sega All Stars Racing, and it was all Sega characters.
Oh yeah.
So, Cross Worlds, who knows what we're doing here? Maybe it's just different versions of Sonic characters, but maybe we'll have Ichiban racing Shadow.
That'd be cool.
That's how Sega All Stars was.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Who knows?
That'd be cool.
I talked about it a little bit beforehand when we were talking about Take-Two with Borderlands, but Mafia: The Old Country was shown.
Yep.
This was the one thing that was revealed before the show, of like, hey, this is going to be here. We had knew that this had existed too.
Yeah.
Mafia is kind of going through a resurgence right now of like, they did the 1 and 2 remasters pretty recent, or they did the 1 remaster recently, and they did the collection. I think they're doing a 2 remaster, and then now this one. This one takes place in Italy in the early 1900s. Kind of starting the whole idea of a mob and the family and stuff like that.
So similar to the Yakuza game.
Right, but like, well, yeah, Project Century, we don't even know if it's like actually Yakuza.
That's true. I'm just assuming that it's going to be like the origin of the Yakuza or something. Like,
yeah, who knows?
And this is when the Yakuza was born.
Right.
So like similar to this game, it's like this is when we started the mob or whatever.
Yeah, a lot of like what family means and like stuff like that.
Vin Diesel.
The different, I mean, just like Yakuza as well, Mafia is very story heavy. Where like these are specific characters with specific motives. And you're also playing a specific character.
It's like Red Dead.
Specific. Red Dead is a great example too. I'm interested. That's 2025. No date on that yet, but we just know that it will be sometime in 2K's 2026 physical quarter, which just means latter half of 2025.
Right.
Capcom coming back with another 1-2 punch. They announced Okami, the sequel. It has been decades since Okami. And they had a little spin-off called Okami Den on the DS, which was like a chibi Okami. It wasn't a full sequel, but it was like a pseudo-sequel kind of thing. But Okami 1 is a PS2 cult classic that's a Zelda-like.
Yeah.
But it's all based on watercolors, and there's like a whole painting mechanic and stuff like that. This is a sequel to that. The original Okami was made by a studio called Clover, and made by a guy named Hideki Kamiya. Hideki Kamiya is also the creator of Resident Evil.
Oh, wow.
He would later leave Capcom to start Platinum Games. Platinum Games would go on to create Bayonetta and Nier Automata, and there's a few other not so great hits in that mix, but Bayonetta is a big one. And Nier, of course, 2B is fucking everywhere.
Right.
That's not a Bayonetta. That's a weird one because it's like Yoko Taro is the creator of Nier Automata, and Platinum just helped with that game. But Platinum's name is very much ingrained into that game, where like that game would not, combat-wise, would not feel like that unless if Platinum was there. Like, that is very much a Platinum-feeling game from start to finish. They did a couple of licensed games as well. They had, like, a TMNT game. They did The Legend of Korra, I think, as well, which is an Avatar spinoff.
Yeah.
The Avatar, the cartoon, not the blue people.
Right.
Hideki Kamiya is back, and he's back at a studio called Clover's. The sequel to Clover Studio.
Nice.
Your Alien to Aliens, Clover to Clovers. They are making the Okami sequel. Doesn't have a proper name yet. This is very, very early. This is like, he signed the paperwork with Capcom and got the studio and announced it.
Made a quick trailer.
Yeah, so he left Platinum like last year.
Wow.
And presumably with these higher ups leaving, they're usually under NDA for a year. As like a non-compete kind of thing of like, hey, you have trade secrets, you were working on a game with the studio, like, we need to give you some space away from that, to kind of like readjust the background here so you don't know everything that's going on, but also like we can kind of legally distance ourselves from it. Sakurai was another case with Smash Bros. Of that happening, where he left Nintendo, and now he announced that he ended the YouTube channel and he's on to making his next game. We don't know what it is. Hideki Kamiya kind of followed suit right after that, where he was like, I'm leaving Platinum and starting a YouTube channel. And then I think he's uploaded like 10 videos in total over the last like year. And he was like, yeah, I guess I'm at Capcom now with Clovers. Versus Sakurai. Sakurai's YouTube channel is fucking crazy, man. So we never talked about it. We talked about it when he announced it. But Sakurai filmed all of those, like, the day he announced that YouTube channel. Like, all of those were pre-filmed, pre-edited, pre-everything planned out before the YouTube channel was announced.
Wow.
Yeah. That's how Sakurai works.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Like, that shit was done several years ago.
Yeah.
And that dude has probably been working on this game for a few years now. 2019 was when Smash Bros. Came out, and the last round of DLC came out 2022. So presumably he's been, and he left shortly before the last round of DLC came out, I think. Like, officially came out. He announced it himself, and he was like, all right, I'm out.
Gotta go, yeah.
And who knows where he's out to. Like, he just said he was done making Smash Bros. He might still be at Nintendo. The rumor is he's working on a new Kid Icarus, which is also his mind baby. And then Kirby as well as
That'd be pretty
partially cool. Him. Yeah, it's been a long time since Kid Icarus. It's also been a long time since Okami. It's been a long time since... Bayonetta 3 did critically it did well. You got some mixed reactions of like some of the characters and stuff like that. It definitely didn't sell as well as the original two.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's because of the culture in video games right now, or if that's just because of like it took way too fucking long to come out. They announced Bayonetta 3, I think, before the Switch came out, and it came out last year. Wow. So it took a long time.
That's crazy.
Or maybe the year before. And then they did like a little spin-off thing called Cereza and the Lost Demon, which was like a Diablo-looking thing, but you control Cereza, which is the real name of Bayonetta.
Right.
You control her, and then you also control her little demon, and it's kind of like Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, where you control each one with a different half of the controller.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, but it's all top-down and stuff like that, kind of like Brothers as well.
Right.
Yeah, this is cool. I don't know what to make of it other than he probably just signed the paperwork, and this is also a 2029 game.
Yeah,
Is what I'm thinking.
He's like, it's coming.
Yeah, eventually.
Stand by.
But him being at Capcom, though, I think this is like them being like, we're going to give you all the money and all the time you need. Like, he left because of creative differences and like lack of budgets and stuff like that. Now Capcom is on top of their game again. Their Resident Evil makes hand over fist money. Mm-hmm. Monster Hunter makes hand over fist money. Like, they can kind of like do whatever they want again, and it seems like they're taking that with stride.
That's pretty cool, though.
Yeah. The last thing we get, this was kind of rumored beforehand. We knew that they were working on something, and we knew that it was going to be sci-fi. We did not know what it was. We did not know we have a name. This game kind of has the same controversy as Witcher 4 of women woke women, just whatever the fuck. Fuck all of you. Fuck all of you guys. I hope you guys all burn. Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet is the final announcement. Came from Naughty Dog, the creators of The Last of Us, Crash Bandicoot, Jak and Daxter, Uncharted.
That game looks pretty neat.
Oh my god, dude. It's so cool. Like, not 80s retro future, but 90s retro future is such a cool aesthetic. Like, I mean, like, it has
they probably didn't want to lean too hard into, like, because that's kind of, like, Marvel's thing right now with their whole...
Right. I mean, like, the 80s is just so played out, too.
That, too. Yeah, I mean, it has become...
And nobody thinks of Naughty Dog in the 80s.
Well, we're entering that time now where the 90s is going to become...
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, this is that. I mean, nobody thinks of Naughty Dog in the 80s. Naughty Dog is the 90s. Mm-hmm. Naughty Dog, Crash Bandicoot, 90s. Yeah. That is very much 90s nostalgia right there. Right. And this trailer is filled with that shit.
Yeah.
She's driving a Porsche NX spaceship that's based off like a 1993 911 or whatever.
Oh yeah, there's so many product placements.
So many, just like an 80s retro future aesthetic. You have the 90s version of that where brands everywhere. You have Sony disc players along with all of those discs. Yeah. I imagine somebody has a whole list now of everything that was shown in that, because those were all real CDs.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there's a whole breakdown of like all your 90s knowledge.
Right, 100%. She's rocking Adidas that light up. Those are sick. She's rocking a bomber jacket that looks like Akira, but it has the Dark Horse Comics logo on it.
Oh yeah.
It has, the Sony disc player in it. There's so many little posters and stuff. It's Cowboy Bebop inspired. I mean, not even just inspired. Like, it's a straight homage to Cowboy Bebop and the Space Pirates bounty hunting. Like, they're making the Cowboy Bebop game. But the twist is, you're not Spike Spiegel with a fucking Luger. You are, I don't know if they gave her a name. I forgot her name. That doesn't say in this. But, you are playing her, and she has a giant fucking sword.
Mm-hmm.
But not only is it a sword, that sword is an equalizer. I'm gonna bring up the trailer. It's a soundbar to music. And when it's vibrating, you can see it, like, the little quick second, it's like all the bars moving up and down. And stuff like that. The title, I could take or leave. People are very hard on the title. I really like it. I like Intergalactic as a title. I like the Heretic Prophet as a title.
I think Intergalactic is another kind of... maybe they didn't do it on purpose, but I feel like it's another kind of like pool from the 90s.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Beastie Boys.
Right.
Yeah. Intergalactic Planetary. I mean, this quote right here, being ancient Semperian text from 1986, is fucking... What a great... There's so many cool things, man. Kumail how do you say his name? Kumail Nanjiani is also referenced in the trailer. He's not directly in the trailer, but we see his picture. There's a little shot of the 5 aces on the board of, like, you see a whole bunch of, like, documents on a board, like, all stapled to it, and there's, like, a picture of the 5 aces, and your main character is one of them, along with Kumail Nanjiani. There's a couple of actors that I don't recognize, but other people I've recognized in there as well. Obviously, the anime rip is just straight up referencing Cowboy Bebop. It's not exactly Cowboy Bebop, but that's what they're trying to invoke. I thought this was going to be Lev from fucking The Last of Us Part 2 at first.
Oh, man, wouldn't that be crazy?
That would be crazy. It's not. It almost
Last
looks
of
like...
Us turned into a space thing.
Yeah. Because, like, Lev is transitioning, but he doesn't know exactly where he's at. Like, if he's going to go through with it or not. He's kind of, like, still... through that whole thing. So I thought it was like, oh, maybe he was like, nah, it's not really me. I'm going to go back and retransition. And we have, several decades later, right? But no, this is a new character, new story, not tied to The Last of Us at all. I mean, you could see from Earth, what is presumably Earth in the background there, where there's like cars flying behind her and stuff like that. Yeah, dude. This is straight up, you're a space cowboy bounty hunter game. And you're getting it from some of the masters of storytelling. I mentioned this as well that day, is that I love The Last of Us. Last of Us is very depressing. I do not want to play through The Last of Us again. I will probably play through the first one again. I definitely don't want to play through the second one again.
Yeah.
But The Last of Us Part 2 is some of the best fucking combat of all time. Like, some of the best feeling shotguns ever. Like, fluid motions.
Yeah. Like,
crazy stuff. There is parts of that game where you are shooting from the hip at full sprint. You run out of ammo. You're kind of like stumbling around yourself. You see a brick while you're still mid-sprinting. You pick that up and you can turn around, throw it back at the enemy behind you, and it's all just one motion. Nice. And you continue it. It's such a fun game. But it's in the wrapper of a depressing world where everybody hates each other and the world also hates you.
Right.
So having something that's, I don't know, it might not be... It seems like the planet that you're going to is very much as dire, but it definitely has a more lighthearted feel to it. I mean, especially if you're invoking Crash Bandicoot.
I was gonna say, yeah, they put those titles first as if there's like gonna be a little more uppityness to it. But then you see this, and it's like, this looks
There's
like
our sword.
straight
so
souls.
Sick.
Yeah.
And then
cool.
you get the Intergalactic theme song is what I imagine that is. Or no, it's Pet Shop Boys, right? It's not the theme song. You get the Naughty Dog logo, and then you get the original PlayStation logo as well to hammer home that it's 90s. Yeah, man, what a trailer to end the show on. Of course, the controversy is stupid and overblown. I think the studio has every right to make, the next thing. And
it's so dumb too, because it's not like we haven't had. I mean, fucking Tomb Raider is amazing. Why do you act like that doesn't even make sense?
I don't get it. It's like
there's plenty of games where we've had female protagonists that work just fine.
Yeah.
And the fact that this is a brand new IP, let them do whatever they want.
Right.
You need some.
But even then, even if it was Last of Us Part 3, you'd still be playing as Ellie. Like,
Again,
I don't fucking
right.
get it.
Yeah, that is also very true, yeah.
Like, Joel is dead. I don't know what you want here. Like, the same thing with Ciri. Like, Geralt's in the fucking game, but Geralt's an old man. Like, I don't know what you want, dude. Like, It doesn't make any sense. Why are we keep doing this? And then, like, if woman not woke, woman in game not naked enough is the other big thing, or things are too naked and too horny. Like, there's this fucking Ouroboros cycle of these, like, I mean, like, grifters is such an overblown word now in this community, but that's what it is. It's people just fucking clout chasing and shit.
Yeah.
And then the people that are making money from it, it's because they all have like fucking blue check marks on Twitter and they're paying a subscription fee, so they go and like comment a bunch of heinous shit on people's posts and stuff and fucking rage bait. And now that's just a perpetual cycle of like people stuck in this mindset of like filth and garbage. It is like, it's such a minor part of the gaming industry and like the gaming culture, but it is somehow like a petri dish, like fucking expanded, like
sex sells.
But also, like, complaining about sex sells, complaining about fucking everything sells. And, like, games are cool, man. Like, I love complaining and talking about shit about video games, but, like, when it all comes down to it, we're talking about fun here. Right. We're talking about things that are fun, people having fun. And then not only that, we're talking about stuff that people put years of their life into. Whether it's bad or not, like, these things matter to people. Like, from the shittiest licensed game to the most expensive AAA title to the smallest indie thing. Like,
it takes so much time.
So much time, so much development. Like, whether it's the fucking QA tester working on 9 to 5 to the guy crunching fucking 6 days a week in 13-hour days, like, people have a passion for this shit. I don't know why the passion has changed and we're passionate about hating things, but this is a thing that we love dearly, and that this sect of, I don't even know if it's the culture, because it just seems like people like throwing themselves into the mix,
right,
saying a bunch of shit and then dipping out, or they're just staying in their shit and then not. Like, I don't know if these people play games. Like,
some people, yeah. I mean, I feel like a good bit of them don't.
It's just like we're complaining
there's
about
so much more to games than the character, especially because half the time you don't even see the character you're playing.
Right, 100%. I mean, with The Last of Us or The Witcher, the third-person games. So
but even then, you'll see a little bit, but that's not what you're staring at the whole time. You're staring at what that person's dealing with.
And that's, even if it is what you're staring at the whole time, like, it's not what you're thinking about the whole time, right? Because any normal person would be like, that's just a fucking human being. Mm-hmm. Like, it's not fucking woke woman game. It's a fucking video game that you play as the main character that's been in this game since fucking a decade ago. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't get it. I don't. I could rant about that. Well, I'm sure we'll have plenty of other things to rant about with that, but it's only the start of this. Like, this game, again, this is probably 2026.
I think it'll die down once it becomes popular. I mean, no one's complaining about...
It took so long for The Last of Us to die away, dude.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe, but if it's good enough, people aren't going to care.
Right. And also, if they're not making fucking money from Twitter posts and shit anymore, like, if people stop engaging with it, like, you put out the fire. But that's the other thing, is that you start... The cycle keeps getting it, because then, like, people saying heinous shit gets headlines, and then headlines bring people to those heinous people, and the people start fighting with the heinous people, and it starts feeding this. Like,
yeah, I mean, it was the same thing with that Wild Hunt game, or whatever it's called, Monster Hunter, or whatever, with the ginger chick.
Oh, right. At Horizon.
It's a small, minute thing overall. I mean, people are gonna game.
Yeah, I don't get it. Where it's like...
Gamers are gonna game.
Yeah. I'm not a Horizon fan, Horizon Zero Dawn, or Burning Shores, or whatever, but, like, the fucking Aloy is not... She's not good enough. She's not good looking enough, or whatever. Like, fuck all of you. Like, what are you talking about? This Star Wars, same thing. Star Wars Outlaws, Kay is not good looking enough. Go fucking die in a hole. Like, what? Are you stupid? Are you stupid? Are you gonna go fuck the video game? You're gonna go put your micro penis inside the disc hole? Like, I don't get it. Like, what are we talking about here? Like, this all used to be polygons and pixels. Like, go get a Playboy magazine, dude. Go watch some porn. Like, I don't know why we're talking about digital women when there's plenty of real women in the world. Why?
Yeah.
And even if we're talking about real women in the world, we talked about them like they're fucking human beings. You know? Like, sexualizing somebody is one thing. People are hot. People are attractive. People are ugly. People are unattractive. Like, that's just the fucking world.
Right.
Like,
Let's just play video games. Let's not care about what they look like. Because we could all just be like stick men.
100%.
Running around, shooting stuff.
And there are games like that. Like,
yeah.
West and Loathing is a Shadow of Loathing. Or games that are full out RPGs, and every single character in that game are stick people.
That's great.
And
that should be the next AAA game. It's just Stickman RPG.
Right. Thomas Was Alone. Amazing video game. You're a one square pixel. That's your character model. Just a pixel on the screen.
Yeah.
And he talks. He has full voice acted lines. Well, it's not voice acted, but it you know, there's character in it and stuff like that. And you're just a fucking pixel on the screen. Nobody was like, oh, he doesn't have a good enough face. Oh, he doesn't, you know, like, I don't, even from a human perspective, like, you don't go, maybe, I guess in the back of your head, you could be like, oh, that person's pretty or that person's ugly, but you don't fucking say it to everybody, right? You don't go up to be like, hi, I'm Ben, you're ugly as shit. Like, I don't get it.
Yeah. Well, other than that, though, the game looks cool.
It looks so dope. It looks so cool. Sorry, I ranted there for a minute. I just needed to get that out.
You're really feeling it.
Yeah. I mean, it's one...
I just want to know, like, other than... I mean, they showed you that one alien. Like, I just want to know, like, what the objective is going to be, you know?
Yeah, it seems like I mean, presumably you're one of the 5 aces. But presumably the actual storyline is hunting down these other 4 aces and like what happened to your crew of bounty hunters. But if it's not that, and it's just you're going out and collecting bounties from random planets, and it's Souls-like on the side or whatever,
that'd be cool too.
Yeah, fuck. I have so much faith in this team. Like. Uncharted is not my bag. Uncharted's fine. I'll play through them fine. They're not horrible, but
Right.
they're not like... The Last of Us is very much my thing.
Yeah.
Even though it's dark and depressing and stuff. And like I said, I'll never return to it. That's very much more of my thing. This is even more harder my thing. I'm very excited.
Yeah, they're definitely, they've expanded for sure. I'm like, they've entered a whole grander thing.
Yeah. Yeah, this definitely feels like not just the next game from them, but the next level, like, of game. Like,
right, yeah.
Like Crash Bandicoot to Jak and the Daxter to Uncharted to Last of Us, Last of Us Part 2, and of course the Uncharted's in between.
Right.
But then, yeah, Intergalactic, multiple planets, multiple storylines, fucking hack and slash or Souls-like. It's a completely different combat style for them. And then we didn't even talk about the soundtrack, dude, because they play Pet Shop Boys in it, but the actual soundtrack from it is fucking Trent Reznor.
Oh, really? That's
and
cool.
Atticus Ross.
Nice.
Like, that's some huge deal shit.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm curious to see how many, like, 90s songs they get in there, too.
Yeah, I'm sure there'll be a handful, like, at least 20 licensed tracks. But to have Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross do, like, I mean, presumably it's like 30-something hours, like Last of Us Part 2 was.
That's probably good, yeah.
You know, what, let's say 40 tracks, 50 tracks from Trent Reznor, dude?
That's cool.
Like, what? What? That's some fucking budget, too.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I mean, you saw the logos. They got Porsche.
Right. Yeah.
Right off the bat, so
that's the thing where, like, it's very cool and stuff like that. Naughty Dog is getting paid, like, there. Like, as much as like that's advertisement placement because it looks cool, but it's also like we're selling ad space because
no, absolutely, that's what I mean. Like, they're using that to get more money to afford the things like that.
Right, yeah, for sure. This is definitely Kojima with Death Stranding and the monster can.
Like, right, yeah, exactly.
Or there was another thing that I think Norman Reedus is the main character in that, and he has a show where he also rides motorcycles, and in that game he references the show where he's like, this is like Norman Reedus and Easy Rider or whatever.
Oh, nice.
It's fucking stupid.
That's
but
funny.
It's again another advertisement of
right.
Like, I have so much faith in Naughty Dog. Like, fuck everyone else for what they're saying, but the true gamers, true people that are fans of this medium know that this is a big deal.
Yeah.
You want to take a break or anything before we go into the next subject, or
What's the next subject?
the bets?
Well, we could just go into that.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't want to.
Cool. Well, I'll take a break for a second. I need to pee. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Yeah.
And clap it. Nice. Got a monster. I'm gonna pee. See, did you hear me go upstairs? You can hear that, right?
A little bit.
Yeah. So I can hear that, but like if we're talking at full volume, you can't hear upstairs at all.
Yeah. That's not bad. Though.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm not as heavy-footed as anyone else in the house. They're very much louder. But, I mean, it is what it is. I'm just very light-footed, and I close doors a lot quieter than most people. And so because I'm up at such late hours, I'm kind of just used to that.
Right.
But they're up during the day and stuff, and like they're, you know, it's a normal day of like moving around the house, so you hear it a little bit more, but especially with the dogs and stuff like that.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
It's like, oh god, I only imagine when the baby's actually here. That thing's gonna be right there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm so happy for them. It's so exciting. I hate kids. So much. I do. But it's my best friend. I'm gonna be an uncle basically to him. it will be a little bit different, but I'm sure I'll feel a lot better when it's Kyle's kid versus like some rando's kid.
Right, true, yeah.
It's just like the dogs. It's like, I love the dogs. I also hate the dogs. We're like, these dogs are great. They're lovely and stuff like that. But the second I have to start like cleaning up after them and stuff.
Oh, right. Of course, yeah.
I'm over that whole part of my life. But the kid, I can just hang out with a kid and be an uncle. I don't have to worry about changing the fucking thing's diaper or anything. You know? And it's not like the dogs where like every once in a while I gotta let them outside or whatever. Which that's not a big deal either. We have the room now, so it's a lot better. Like in the old house, they were confined to like one area, which is basically just the kitchen and living, like kitchen dining room area. And in this house is a lot more open, a lot bigger. They have the whole upstairs area. Mary's scared of coming downstairs,
nice.
But Mia's came down and visited me once, which is cool. But I mean, also like because they're not in this space that much, that there's no dog hair anywhere. It was like even though they're confined to that one area in that old house, it was just everywhere.
Give them a little time for it to spread.
Right. No, I got a Swiffer today and everything like that.
Nice.
It was like, I need something for this floor because I'm going to go crazy if I can't clean it.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
We're already there to the point where, like, I have little drops of
crumbs
like,
of things,
yeah. And it's only been, like, a week. Like, I'm going crazy. I don't have a vacuum yet and need to do something. Like, I rolled my thing and it sounded like sand. I was like, oh.
Yeah, I noticed that when I moved my foot across the ground.
Yeah, I mean, I wear my shoes inside, so I'm asking for it, but, you know, having the ability to clean. I was like, oh, I just gotta make it till payday, and then fucking buy a whole bunch of shit. Yeah, man. Yeah. Again, with the woke thing, I wanted to fucking... Dude... I don't know what it is about woke, but, like, we need to get rid of that word, and people need to be, like, enlightened or something like that. Like, that needs to be the word that we are using for people above all this bullshit, is, like, enlightenment. Like, you're fucking... You're smarter than that bullshit, because, like, I don't get it. It's, like, woke and, like, all of these words that... To be woke, or... to have wokeness was enlightenment. It was, you know, it came from a place of, like, not being ignorant to something. It wasn't like, I mean, there was a progressiveness to it, but it wasn't like women's rights or anything like that. Being woke was being woken up to, like, systemic values and, like, things like the man bringing you down and stuff like that. Being woke was being above, like, stuff like that. You know, like, communism was being woke back in the day. Like, shit like that. And now it's turned into this, like, anti-woman, like,
it's just people are using it facetiously or whatever.
Of course. And it goes against, like, the other side of it, where people will, like, love to censor themselves. So I saw Chris Reagan just did a video of this recently, but people saying, like, great or unalived like these things were like, it's like this weird censorship over here, and then there's this weird censorship over here of, like, oh, we're anti-DEI stuff, but, like, we're also gonna try to take down every single game and everybody who believes in those things because we believe in freedom.
Yeah.
I don't get that. But also, we can't say that we killed somebody. We unalived them.
That's why I avoid all of it.
Right. I'm so perpetually
so much
on the
easier.
internet.
I mean, I am too. I feel like my algorithm's just full of weird stuff that doesn't pertain to anything at all.
Yeah, mine is just video games.
Just brain rot.
Yeah, I mean, like, that's a big thing. I do... I do weed out the brain rot, and I do call it out, like, the Alyssa McKinstry stuff, and, like, the Kotaku downfall, and everything like that. Because, I mean, like, the Kotaku angle was what really started all of this, is, like, their PS5 review talks about Trump politics.
Yeah, that's weird.
Why the fuck are we talking about, oh, because the PS5 isn't doing so well is because Trump is in office? Are you fucking dead? What are you talking about?
Right.
But that's where this whole, like, anti-woke culture came from, is because Kotaku and those people started being like, I mean, the DEI thing of, like, everybody wants their sacred thing to be sacred, so somebody coming in and changing things, supposedly, is a bad thing. But the whole thing with DEI and these people is that you don't have to take their word, because it's just a fucking... It's just some observations people make, right? Saying, like, hey, you have a lot of white people in your game. I don't know, man. This guy, he kind of seems like he may be a Mexican dude. I don't know. You want to think about that? Maybe we can do something there with that. Oh, you don't like that? Cool. Oh, you do like that? Cool. That's where that came from.
Yeah.
And then it devolved and divulges into deeper of, like, these people are different than me, so I don't want it here. Or these people are different from me, and somebody wanted them here, and they weren't a part of this at all, kind of thing.
Right.
Or, like, everything's inclusive, so nothing's inclusive, kind of thing. It's like, I don't know. It's very Ouroboros, like, kind of snake eating its own tail, for sure. But the idea of all of this has divulged from a very select few people, and it still all involves a very select few people. It's just on the world stage of everybody in the gaming industry watching these people, like, set fire to their house, basically. Whether it's the Alyssa McKinstry side of, like, now she's suing people for defamation and stuff like that. And then, but she's also goes on podcasts and is like, fuck these people, fuck these guys, oh, fuck you, fuck this, fuck that.
Yeah.
Which, again, completely fine. But then you start facing the ire of these people, and then, again, you start suing for defamation, and, like, it's these things of, like, well, now you guys have just been throwing insults at each other, so I don't know what the defamation is. Like, nobody's lying about anything. You're just calling each other stupid and woke, like, back and forth. And that's been, like, the last year and a half of this, of, like, this thing's woke. Oh, you're stupid for thinking that way. Oh, you're stupid for thinking that way. And then, you know, nothing ever makes any money anymore, is because everything's fucking tainted with this shit.
Yeah.
I think that's a big reason why. I mean, Dragon Age or Star Wars not selling too well because of DEI things. It's whatever. I don't see that being the thing. I see it, this fucking cesspit is, like, tainting all of the video games industry around it. So anything that isn't part of those circles is doing fine. But the second one of those games gets drawn into the fire, it's like, well, that's just fucking cooked. It doesn't matter what it is. Like, fucking Star Wars sells 1.5 million units, but it needed to sell 15. Like, that sucks, but, like, I don't know what to do with that right now. Like, it's like this whole grifter community thing. Like, I don't know if they play games or not, because they aren't really adding anything to the games that they're throwing up. Like, and if I don't even think they're throwing any games up in high regard. It was like Black Myth Wukong was the one thing that people, like, grabbed onto. Yeah. And it's because, I mean, those devs have said some weird shit. They've said, like, anti-woman, anti-feminist stuff. But they're also Chinese. Things can be taken, like, whether culturally different or like mistranslated, because again, Chinese, I mean, we can translate to Chinese very well, but it's definitely a lot different of a language, where ours is very literal and theirs is very metaphorical, and like they speak in differently in different tones, and different tones mean different things. But that team's had some weird things happen on the internet. But then again, like, that community grabbed onto it and they start doing weird shit around that game, like creating fake press releases or fake NDAs that says, I mean, apparently it was fake. And that's what everybody who reviewed the game said was, but like there was like a fake NDA that got sent out for reviewing the game, and it was like, no talking about feminism, no mentioning the Chinese leader, and blah 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 blah. I was like, I don't, nobody says things like that. So like, is this real? Nobody.
I'm sure that's more of a joke than anything.
Right. Well, I mean, it was a legal document.
Yeah, but you said it was fake.
Right. The fake part of it is that this Grum's character that lives, he's not, that's his, I don't, it must be his handle, but he's an old dev from back of the day or whatever. He's kind of leading this whole anti-woke charge on Twitter. He's become the laughing stock of the rest of the video games industry. But he's been forging these documents. Like, there's been multiple cases of, like, he sent out fake NDAs and posted them on Twitter being like, isn't this bullshit? And then people are like, I don't think that's real. And then, you know, the story becomes, it's real because and there's people fact checking it, but the fucking anti-woke crowd is already so riled up and shit that they're just fucking running with it, right?
Yeah.
Everybody who's against us is against us, so they're obviously lying.
Right.
But it's like,
I mean, that's like that with anything, though. I mean,
right. And Stellar Blade was another
it's just
game.
a rumor mill.
But this isn't rumors. This is just happening. You know, this is just people being shitty.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess.
The rumor would be this game coming out, and then or the Naughty Dog game coming out, right? We don't get a trailer, and it'd be like, hey, you're playing as a woman. And then that would be the rumor, and then they go run with it, right?
Right.
But for them to be like, you play as woman woke, and then they go on the document, or go on WordPress or whatever, and fucking print out a fake NDA, and then send it out as fact.
Yeah.
That's what's been happening
like
with him.
Yeah, I mean, I that just seems like, I think that's such a small, minute part of the community. I mean, I think every once in a while someone complains about it, but I think for the most part, enough people are above that like, I don't even even think about it for really. I mean,
right. It all lives on Twitter, and it's like, let's say 30,000 people on Twitter, all like fucking writhing in their filth.
Right.
And a lot of the gaming industry has left Twitter. I mean, that's just, a lot of them are just like, we're sick of these types of people. We're sick of Elon Musk. We're sick of, you know, like, just negativity in general.
Yeah.
Which I understand, because it brings out this kind of shit, especially from me, where like, I feel like I've had this like built up for a while. But yeah, you're right. It's very small. And once you leave that space, you're not like, you're not forced to deal with it anymore. Like, it's really as easy as just walking away from the computer screen. It's just a bummer that it's affecting, like, even though it's not word wise, like, you're not seeing it like in the background in the video games that we're playing. Like, people are more on edge now. Like, money's already hard enough to get these games created, and things take so long to make. It's like, we're already second guessing decisions because we don't know if they're gonna make enough money. Why are we...
let alone being insulted to death.
Right. That trailer was amazing. Why does that trailer have over 17,000 dislikes on it? And then 9,000 likes on it? Like, what are we doing
here? Yeah.
I don't know. We were gonna start betting. we have bets.
Yeah, let's rip through this.
Let's rip through the awards real quick. Astrobot did win Game of the Year. Congratulations to Astrobot. What a crazy cool game that is. The Sony nature, that's a whole other part of that community is like fanboyism, like anti-fanboy. Oh, we're this type of fanboy, that type of fanboy kind of thing. There's a lot of that still going around too.
Yeah.
The console war shit. It being a PlayStation game is fucking irrelevant of how good that game is. That's what a crazy cool game. Where did we start? Best esports team and best esports athletes. We skipped best esports game. We had Dota 2, Counter-Strike 2, League of Legends, Mobile Legends, Bang Bang, and Valorant. Do I have a pen near me? Alright. This will be a point for Patrick. I had guessed Valorant, and Patrick had guessed League. So a point for Patrick. I'm just gonna, put a point there. GTA 6 would win best on most anticipated game. We both got that right. That's a point for both of us. Best adaptation went to Fallout. Let me put that. We both guessed Fallout. I guess I should do the full thing. Best adaptation was Arcane, Fallout, Knuckles Like a Dragon, Tomb Raider, and Fallout would win. Best multiplayer game, we had the nominees of Call of Duty, Black Ops 6, Helldivers 2, Super Mario Party Jamboree, Tekken 8, Warhammer 40k, Space Marine 2. Helldivers is what won. I got that one, and Patrick guessed Call of Duty. Feel free to stop me if you have any thoughts and want to say anything about winners, of course, because there's a lot here.
No, it's okay. I mean, we watched the whole thing, so we know.
Right, but this is that was all the trailers and stuff like that. But if you want to congratulate or talk about any of these, we're gonna pass some games that we've definitely played. And it's of course not the last time we'll be able to talk about them, but since they're here. Best sports and racing game, we had F1 24, EA Sports FC 25, NBA 2K25, Top Spin 2K25, and WWE 2K24. And the winner would go to EA Sports FC 25. I had guessed that. And Patrick guessed FIFA. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Yes. Best Sim Strategy. We had Frostpunk 2, Age of Mythology Retold, Kinesigami, Path of the Goddess, Manor Lords, and Unicorn Overlord. Frostpunk 2 is what won that. We both guessed that. Congratulations to Frostpunk 2. Kyle is very happy with that game. He loves it. Which is good for them. Good for them just putting out another banger. Best Family Game. Princess Peach Showtime, Astrobot, Super Mario Party Jamboree, The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, and The Plucky Squire. Astrobot would win that and take that home. This is the start of Astrobot coming up. Not a lot of Nintendo this time around. We don't usually get Nintendo at these things. They usually have some kind of reveal. They've done Smash Bros. Reveals.
Uh-huh.
We got nothing. We got a commercial, Like, not even a trailer, a commercial for Echoes of Wisdom, a game that's already out. And it was like, hey, it's 25% off or something like that. And that was the only Nintendo anything there.
They're saving themselves.
Yeah, maybe so. I mean, the Switch 2 is, who knows, like, at any point now, they're dropping a trailer.
Probably, yeah.
But, you thought maybe like Xenoblade or something. I don't know. Something like that. Who knows? Best fighting game. We got Grand Blue Fantasy vs. Rising, Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection, Multiverses, and Tekken 8. Tekken 8 would be the one to take that. We both guessed Dragon Ball, so I'm surprised too. Best RPG. Dragon's Dogma 2, Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erd Tree, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, Metaphor, ReFantazio. We had both guessed Like a Dragon. It had gone to Metaphor, ReFantazio. We both got that one on. Best Action Adventure. We have Astrobot, Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown, Silent Hill 2, Star Wars Outlaws, The Legend of Zelda, Echoes of Wisdom. We both guessed Silent Hill 2. Astrobot would be the one to take that home. Cross that off. Best Action Game. Black Myth Wukong, Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Helldivers 2, Stellar Blade, Warhammer 40k, Space Marine 2. We both guessed Wukong, and we were both right. Wukong would take that home. That would be the one that they take home. I don't know if it's true or not, but I guess like when they lost Game of the Year, they were like crying or something like that. So there's like this whole thing of like, do they know what was going on that whole time? Like, did they think they were going to win or something like that? I don't know. It's very weird to have people crying when that they didn't win. Usually people cry if they do win, kind of thing.
People cry when they don't win.
Yeah, but nobody else does. Like, it's one of those things where, like, they did win something, but they didn't win Game of the Year. But, like, I don't know.
Maybe they thought that, when you're nominated, why wouldn't you? You wouldn't be upset if you didn't win?
Well, I mean, we talked about it. It's the lowest Metacritic out of all of them. It's like an 80%.
That's true, but they still had a pretty good... They still were pretty hype.
Right. Yeah, right. And they won Golden Joystick, which is all fan voted and stuff. But this is all like a committee kind of thing. Or not like a committee, but like all of the journalists and stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know if it's true or not because there's no footage of it. It's just people saying that happened. I'm like, oh, well, that's weird. I hope they're cool, It doesn't seem like they're cool from what the internet has portrayed from them. Best VR AR game. We have Arizona Sunshine Remake, Asgard's Wrath 2, Batman Arkham Shadow, Metal Hellsinger VR, and Metro Awakening. I had guessed Asgard's Wrath 2. Patrick had guessed Batman. Batman would be the one to take that home. That was a point for Patrick. I'm gonna readjust the points after. I'll count them in a minute. Best mobile game: AFK Journey, Balatro, Pokemon TCG Pocket, Wuthering Waves, and Zelda Zone Zero. We both guessed Pokemon. Balatro would be the one to take that home. Best debut indie. We have Balatro, we have Animal Well, Manor Lords, Pacific Drive, and The Plucky Squire. I said Balatro. Patrick said Animal Well. Balatro would be the one to take that home. I'm surprised Animal Well didn't get anything. Animal Well I thought would be the one to get this, and then Balatro maybe the next one or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm UFO 50 as well as another one that I thought would have been a slam dunk. But, best indie game, Animal Well, Balatro, Lorelei and the Laser Eyes, Neva, and UFO 50. What did I guess? I guess Balatro. Patrick guessed UFO 50. Balatro would be the winner of that. Best community support. Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, Helldivers 2, No Man's Sky. I had guessed No Man's Sky. They had a major update. Fortnite as well, you had guessed. Fortnite had a major update. Baldur's Gate 3 is the one that took that home. They secretly update that game constantly, and I mean, like, I get it. They add new endings to that game all the time.
Yeah.
Like, there's like thousands of endings to that game at this point. Like, there has to be. Like, it's crazy how much they add. After that, we got Games for Impact. These are games that are, you know, speak more to the ongoing situations. We need to change the name of that. Closer the Distance, Indica, Neva, Life is Strange Double Exposure, Senua's Sagas Hellblade 2, and Tales of Kinsera Zao. I guess Destiny 2. Or no, we skipped that, sorry, my bad. Best Community Support, and then Best Ongoing Game. Best Ongoing Game is Destiny 2, Diablo 4, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, and Helldivers 2. I had guessed Destiny 2. Patrick guessed Diablo. It went to Helldivers 2. So we both got that wrong. Games for Impact, again, Close to the Distance, Indica, Neva, Life is Strange, Hellblade 2, Tales of Kinsera Zao. I had guessed Indica. I was really hoping for that game to pull out. Hellblade 2 did end up winning some things. Did not win this one, though. Neva would be the winner. We got both of these. We both got this one wrong. Innovations for accessibility. Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Diablo 4, Dragon Age the Veilguard, Prince of Persia, Star Wars Outlaws. Prince of Persia The Lost Crown. There was 2 Prince of Persias this year. I should make sure I specify which one. Yeah. We both guessed Call of Duty. Call of Duty did not take that. Prince of Persia The Lost Crown is the one that would take that one. Which I'm surprised. They had some cool things in there. Like for a Metroidvania, like if you pick up an item, you can screenshot it, and I'll save that screenshot to the map. Stuff like that. Best performance, we got Hannah Tell for Life is Strange Double Exposure, Brianna White for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Humberly Gonzalez for Star Wars Outlaws 2, Luke Roberts for Silent Hill 2, and Melina Juergens for Senua's Sagas Hellblade 2. What do we guess? Silent Hill 2 is what I guess. Hellblade 2 is what Patrick guessed. Hellblade 2 would be the one to take that home. It makes sense. That's like the most performance in a game.
Yeah.
Like
all performance.
Yeah, it's literally all that game is. It's just her performing. Best audio design. Astrobot, Call of Duty 6, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Hellblade 2, Silent Hill 2. Hellblade 2 would be the one to take it. I'd guess Silent Hill 2. Black Ops 6 is what you guessed, so we both get that one wrong. Bam. Best score in music. Astrobot, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Metaphor ReFantasio, Silent Hill 2, Stellar Blade. I guess Metaphor. Patrick guessed Astrobot. Final Fantasy VII is the one that takes that. And great music for Final Fantasy VII. I don't know. Astrobot, man. Astrobot's pretty fucking good. I listen to that music by itself.
I honestly thought it was going to be Metaphor. But
yeah, I thought so too, with the guy like doing his chants and stuff. But they didn't even bring that guy on stage. I thought they were gonna bring him out for the melody.
Right? Yeah, nothing.
Best art direction: Astrobot, Black Myth Wukong, Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree, Metaphor, and Neva. I had guessed Elden Ring. Patrick guessed Wukong. It went to Metaphor. We both got that wrong. Which makes sense. That game's all art. It makes sense. I think we had talked about that when it was happening. It was like, I don't know, man. And then we were like, yeah, we're just not going to choose either of that. Best narrative: Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, Metaphor, ReFantazio, Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2, Silent Hill 2. I'd guess Metaphor. Patrick guessed Like a Dragon. Metaphor is the one that takes it home. Bam, bam. Best game direction: you got Astrobot, Balatro, Black Myth Wukong, Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Metaphor, ReFantazio. I don't know. Did Astrobot really win direction? I guess it must have. I believe it. Astrobot is who won. I had guessed Erdtree. Patrick guessed Balatro, so we both get that wrong. I'm surprised. I thought Balatro won that one, but I guess not. Maybe it was just a different. Maybe that was the debut game because he came up on stage, right?
Yeah.
And that's why I was thinking it was direction, but I guess that wasn't.
I remember.
Yeah. And then the big one, Game of the Year: Astrobot, Balatro, Black Myth Wukong, Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erdtree, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Metaphor, ReFantazio. Astrobot is what won. I had guessed Erdtree, and Patrick guessed Wukong. So we both get that wrong. I'm thoroughly surprised that Astrobot won, but I mean, I shouldn't be. It's an excellent game. Erdtree being DLC, like, totally, I get it. I get the argument. Erdtree is the best gaming experience I've had in a very long time, let alone this year. Wukong, I'm excited to get to it. It's the lowest rated Metacritic out of all of them. I still don't know why it's even up for a nomination compared to, like, I don't know, UFO 50. Or like,
I mean, I feel like
there's some other games like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth.
That
dude.
one would have been, yeah.
Like, why is that not on Game of the Year versus Wukong? But again, it's one of those things where like there are fan voting. It's not the whole thing of it. It's like 10%
right
of it. But at the before all of everybody votes, Jeff does ask, "Hey, these are the games what games are you thinking of?" And he starts pulling in names and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine Wukong came in quite a bit. But the thing is that a lot of people really like that game. Don't get me wrong, but a lot of that fan base is very toxic as well. So we're having a lot of instances of people like botting these places,
right?
Like just botting votes. Same thing with the Golden Joysticks. It won Golden Joysticks, but did it really win Golden Joysticks?
Yeah,
because apparently 10 million people voted for that. So I don't know. Because usually it's like maybe a couple 100,000 people.
Right.
So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Astrobot, good for you, dude. Astrobot won like 4 awards this year. Balatro won 3. What else did we get that had won multiple awards? Balatro, Metaphor as well came in with a couple.
Mm-hmm.
Really the only thing that didn't get anything was Erdtree. Erdtree was here, but I thought because it was here, it would get something. But it didn't. I'd say the only other thing that was up for other nominations besides the ongoing stuff is Call of Duty. Call of Duty didn't win anything as well. Helldivers 2 coming in for best ongoing. Is it really ongoing? And we talked about that, really. Because it's only been out for like several months.
It hasn't even been out long enough for that to have been
right
to be considered.
But it was up for community support as well. But then it's like, a lot of the community doesn't like how they've supported that game.
Right.
With like nerfing weapons and stuff like that. But here, let me count these up real quick. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You got 10 on the dot. I fucked that up. That's not how you do those. 10 on my dot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Is that 7? Is that 7 for you? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Damn. That was close. But we got 7 and 10. I thought you had that, honestly. Because, like, you guessed the Wukong shit.
I think in the first half I did, and then in the second half I got everything wrong.
Oh. Well, you got Hellblade.
Like, right after, like, this part, and then, like, the second half, you started getting it. But, I mean, it's, yeah.
I mean, I got most of those wrong, too.
I was going to say, most of them we both got wrong.
Yeah, right.
We were very surprised off of most of them, I think. We were.
Right. I think, yeah, a couple of them we both got right as well. So I was like, oh, it'll be real close.
It'll even out.
Well, as a bet, cheesy bread is the one thing I want.
Okay.
You can just buy me a thing of cheesy bread. It's pretty cheap and easy. I ate cheesy bread last night.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, dude, I don't know. Like, it was a good Game Awards this year. Like, I had so much fun doing it.
Everything was smooth. There were no hiccups.
Yeah, no hiccups. I mean, like, we didn't even have to deal with, like, a lot of people had to refresh partway through the stream. Like, I guess, like, one of the streams was crashing on them.
Huh.
I don't know if it was, like, the Twitch versus the YouTube or whatever, but we didn't have any problem with it. If 3.5 hour show flew by.
It was very quick, yeah. I was very surprised that much time it went by.
Yeah, usually, like, by the latter half, you start feeling like, all right, it's time to wrap it up kind of thing. But
yeah,
I don't know. It felt very well paced. Mm-hmm. You could tell that this is the 10th year anniversary, and you could tell that it took 10 years worth of work to get some of these.
They finally figured it out.
Right.
Kind of.
Right. I mean, like, even before that, like, the Spike Awards existed, too. Like, that's technically part of this lineage. So, like, this has been around since, like, the early 2000s.
Oh, yeah.
But, like, the Spike Awards, we'll have to watch. I just watched 2007 recently. That's why I messaged you about Borderlands. Because that trailer was revealed there.
Oh, that's funny.
Dude, that's what a fucking insane show comparatively. I mean, like, some of the staples are there, but, like, instead of, like, just announcing the winners on cards, they had, like, full naked women body painted with the award noms on.
Wow.
So it'd be like, Call of Duty, and the girl would turn around, and it'd be like, Call of Duty 4 written on her stomach or something. It's like, what the fuck is this? It's very much Spike TV.
Oh my god, yeah, that's exactly what Spike TV has to offer.
Yeah. It was very much of that time. And Jeff Keighley is not a part of it at all. Like, he's definitely, he's produced it, and I think he has, like, one little segment in there.
Yeah.
But, like, he's not the host or anything. They had Samuel L. Jackson host it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
It's so weird. And Kid Rock played. Why the fuck is Kid Rock playing at a video game show? Wow. It was very strange. Yeah. Because Kid Rock's like, I can't even think of a video game with a Kid Rock song in it.
Right, yeah. Maybe a football game or something.
Yeah, maybe. With, like, fucking, Rock and Roll Jesus or something. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
It's like, but 2007, you know, the year that Skate and Guitar Hero 3 came out, BioShock, like, 2007 is one of the greatest years in video games, is considered. I mean, you have the Orange Box, Portal, Half-Life 2, like, BioShock, Guitar Hero 3, Skate, fucking, Halo, Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare, like, 2007's insane.
It was a good time.
Yeah, dude. It's amazing. But the show does not reflect that at all. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a different world. Holy shit.
We've definitely evolved.
Yeah, evolved is one way to put it.
Yeah.
That's for sure. I don't know which way. It could be devolved. In
Nice.
some aspects we might have devolved. But I don't know. It was definitely a fun show. I don't know if it was a good show.
Right.
This was a great show. This year's Game Awards was fantastic. I would say it's Jeff Keighley's best show that he's put on. And he does 3 of these a year. So, I mean, that's another thing of, like...
That's true, yeah.
Summer Games Fest, Gamescom, and this, it's like one of those starts to feel like the lesser than. This is still very much his thing. This is the thing that everything builds up to. This is the moment.
Yeah, it's the main one for sure.
Yeah, and you can tell. Seeing him get choked up quite a few times. It really hits home of like how much like not only it means to him, but like how much it should mean to us of like this is our thing. This is our community. This is our award ceremony. This is our celebration. This is this is something that us as a community have built to for the end of the year, have built to over the last decade. Like this is the thing that keeps us awake and keeps us moving. It's like you want to play video games. The thing that you're thinking of when you're not playing video games is video games.
Yeah.
And it does take we have gotten jaded. We have gotten desensitized to it because we're so surrounded by it now, like with the internet and stuff. Like everything that I consume is video games.
Yeah.
And I try to be like that when I was a kid, but it was very limited access back then, where it was just magazines and like if I wanted to talk to somebody about video games, it was me sitting in a GameStop for an hour.
Yeah. Now it's on everything, so now it's so much easier to get.
Right. But a lot of the time we lose sight of like what's happening. Like it's just another year, another Game Awards, another Summer Games Fest, another E3. You start getting desensitized. It's important to reflect on like why this is important and who this is important to, and if it's not important to you, maybe you shouldn't be here anymore. I think we have a problem with people who are just like who like old video games but don't like modern video games, or just don't like video games at all and are just want to be part of the conversation, I guess.
Right.
But like if this isn't important to you, like we don't want you here. Like
yeah. Well, I mean, everyone comes in different. There's different types of fans, but
right. I mean as a way of like it being important to you. Like if it's something you do, like after work or whatever, like it's whatever. You play video games, but like to be part of this conversation and to be Game of the Year talk, to the culture, all of that stuff, its importance is important to all of us, you know, and the people who actually live and breathe and live in this world of video games, right? To have a whole bunch of people just like, I mean, it's like people trashing your house at a party, right?
Yeah, right. No, like if you're just casually playing, maybe your opinion, just casually play. You don't have to. You're not in the world. You're not deep enough into the world that it matters.
Right, but
I get it.
Yeah, I think this show does a great job as well. I mean, it's very. It being a 3.5 hour long show, 3 hour show without the opening act, they don't call it a pre-show anymore, which is cool. I like the name change a lot.
Yeah,
calling it a pre-show, it lacks the importance of what
Opening
all those
act makes it more unified.
Right. I mean, like, we saw the creator of Tekken accept an award during that. Like, that's a big deal.
That's pretty cool, yeah.
And let alone, like, the reveals or anything. The awards are really what matter.
Right.
This does a very good job at not... It gets people involved in the community a little bit more. Like, it gives us something to be proud of, to be like, hey, this is why this is important. It's the Oscars for movies, but, like...
Yeah.
You know, definitely. Like, not everybody who watches movies watches the Oscars, but not everybody who watches the Oscars watches movies. Like, there's a significance to this that I think is... It has been understated, but I think it needs to be hit home of, like, because if we don't state its importance as well, Jeff Keighley, I mean, the creator of this, is like, not that I think he'll go soft on it, but, like, you know, like, we only have so many of these things. Like, E3 got taken away from us.
Right.
Like,
I mean, everyone needs their accolades. I think, you know, we'll always have some sort of...
Yeah, right. I mean, DICE exists and all that stuff, too. I mean, if you want the award show without the announcements is what makes this whole thing. It's why we're all here, along with the awards as well. But, like, you know, this is why we get excited. We celebrate and look forward to the future. DICE is not that. DICE is just the award ceremony. If you want that does exist. There's a reason why nobody watches it. And it's because that's inaccessible. You can watch it wherever. It's just, if you don't care about video games to the utmost degree, you're not going to get it.
Right.
It takes the Oscars doing live performances and, you know, making a whole...
many... all their little bits and stuff.
Right. Jimmy Fallon hosting it or whatever, right? Like, there's different rungs of the ladder to grab on. I don't know a good way to, like...
No, it makes sense.
Yeah. Versus, like, just trying to, like, climb up the hill or climb up a cliff or whatever by yourself. Like, there's something to grab onto. And that's what DICE is missing. That's what the Golden Joysticks are missing. Is, like, the Golden Joysticks is fan voted, but I've never watched the Golden Joysticks. I could watch it, but nobody does.
Right.
It's one of those things where it just happens, and it used to happen behind closed doors, so, like, nobody
it's easier
ever
that
caught
way. If you're not going to put on anything in between, just release the results really quick, and let me read the poll, you know, take 30 seconds, and we'll move on.
Right. And this has become like Gamer Christmases. E3 used to be the thing in between, and, like, the Video Game Awards in the past used to be half the size and half the... Especially when it was on TV, I think that runtime for that 2007 thing is, like, an hour 15.
Yeah.
And they do 3 concerts in the middle of that, and... show off world premieres. I think they show 4 trailers in total of world premieres and then do the awards. It's definitely a lot better now than what it used to be. But yeah, I don't know. I wanted to reflect on that part of it a little bit because, like, I don't know. There's a reason why we did this, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't just because it... I mean, it is a fun thing to do, like, but it could have just been a very small part of an episode kind of thing, but, like, this deserves the time. It deserves 6 hours of talking about this whole year in games.
It's the history of games.
Right, and especially a 10th anniversary. Like, what a crazy...
Yeah, not as... They probably could have gone even bigger, honestly. I feel like they underplayed that part, but maybe 100%. Maybe they're not trying to get too crazy too early. Like, we'll save it for the 20 year.
And I think they're trying to... Like, the Game Awards as a whole is important, but, like, the Game Awards is just the vessel. It's not the liquid. It's not the main course.
Absolutely right. Yeah, right. They don't want
think,
to take away from that either.
Right,
so.
And I think Jeff did a very good job of not making it about his show and about making the show about others and about everything.
Absolutely.
Because he has 2 other shows to make it about him, right? Like, this is the big thing, but, like, Summer Games Fest is a week-long, like, video game retreat for people, and then Gamescom is the opening act to a whole convention.
Right.
Yeah, this is a lot different, and I'm glad he takes it. He saves all of this for that, and kind of like lets it breathe, and maybe because this show has just been around for longer than the others as well.
Yeah, it's developed a little more. Yeah,
and you can, especially with like Gamescom. I feel like Gamescom every year is like very much the third wheel, and especially now with Summer Games Fest. But Summer Games Fest is so new that it still hasn't grown to its full potential yet. Where like, I think the first year was something like 2,000 people showed up or whatever, and this year was like slightly bigger than that, and next year will be slightly bigger than that. But,
until it picks up, and
right. And the difference between Summer Games Fest or like the Game Awards is like the Game Awards and Summer Games Fest, the whole industry is there, but Game Awards you can buy tickets to. You can go see the Game Awards. They're expensive, but you can go to it. Summer Games Fest is just journalists, just people in the industry.
Right.
Which is also like, I mean, E3 kind of lost sight of it because they started letting the public in and stuff like that. They didn't do it the Gamescom route, where the Gamescom has 3 days for press in the industry, and then 3 days for, or 3 days for the public.
Oh, word.
And then
makes sense.
Yeah, there's like an overlap in between there, where like some people stay for the whole stretch, and then some people leave after their 3 days or whatever.
Right.
But Cologne, Germany, where it takes place, is very small compared to LA.
Really?
And that convention's like 4 times bigger than E3 ever was.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's a lot of people, like somewhere in the million plus range of like the last year.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
For Germany.
Right. I mean, their whole economy, let alone that city, but like a lot of the surrounding cities is all based off that 1 week.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, they make so much money from that. Yeah, from what I know, is like there's a reason why it's there, and it's helped a lot with that area. I want to go. I want to go to Gamescom. It sounds horrifying, like wall to wall people, shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah, I'm okay.
The smell.
I can only imagine.
Oh.
Disney World was enough. I'm
right. And Disney World is open air outside too.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, when you're not trapped in a ride or something.
Right.
Yeah. But even then, yeah.
Imagine all of the Disney World population, but now put a roof over it.
Right. In the alleys of like New York and stuff.
Right. Jeez.
I cut myself.
Yeah, I think that's a podcast. Did you play anything this week? I didn't get to, unfortunately.
No, I mean, we talked about the Fortnite stuff.
Right, that's right.
And that's about it. I wanted to install Marvel Rivals, but I have to find my cord to the PlayStation 5, so...
Right. Yeah,
and then Balatro is now out.
Yeah, it's on mobile.
On console stores.
Yes.
It wasn't before the Game Awards.
It was just on Switch. Yeah.
Yeah, so it came out now, so...
Nice.
I put that on my wish list, and haven't played any other games besides. I mean, I play Black Ops with Kenya, and I play Fortnite with my comedian friends, and then I'm still playing that card game that is neither here nor there.
Yeah.
But
you talked about TCG Pocket, and then you ended up downloading TCG Live, which is
Yeah, because you can't get Pocket on your laptop.
right, because it's only for your phone.
Right.
But yeah, any updates with that? Have you jumped back into it or anything? I mean,
No, I played a little bit of it, and I learned the thing. My biggest issue is just the rounds take so long.
yeah.
And there's a lot of
It's
like
a full out game.
And there's a lot of oh, you need this to do this and this to do this, and I don't know if I want to get into that. You know?
Right.
Like it's like you're constantly searching for specific things to build a thing. Where like Marvel, the Marvel card game, you can just build a deck out of whatever. I mean, sure, certain cards work together, and they do have, like, the Thanos cards or whatever, but, like,
right.
You can kind of build a deck out of... You're not, like, relying on anything. I don't know. It's just... It's fun, but it's just too slow.
Yeah, that's...
So, I'm just like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I warned you about. The TCG Live is the full card game.
Right.
So rather than it being...
Maybe once I get a new phone, which I plan to do after the holidays, maybe then I'll download the Pocket.
Yeah.
And try again, because I'm not against it. I love card games, and I mean, you know, Pokemon has a bunch of cool stuff attached to it. It's just like, it takes so long. And then, plus, you don't really have a choice on who you're battling. So, like, whether you're rank or casual, you're battling people that already have, like, you know, perfect decks and stuff. So it's like...
I thought they did a little bit better with that, at least, like, at the beginning.
I don't feel like it. I feel like I'm like, every time I battle, like, I'm not losing. I have a decent, for what I have, but, I mean, I'm not, it's not like I'm not winning every game either, but, like, it's just, I just feel like most of the time it's like I'm battling people that already have, like, they've found all the cards they want and stuff. Like, they have full decks already built, and I'm just like, man.
So that's the thing with Live, is that every single pack of Pokemon cards you open comes with a code.
Right.
And then it gives you another pack digitally.
Yeah.
So I have thousands of codes for you.
Well, I mean, okay. I don't know.
If you want codes, you got codes, man. I can help you out for sure. The big thing is it has that like campaign mode thing, and that will teach you a lot of it. And then it gives you like some prefab decks and stuff. Pocket's the same way, where actually battling is not the first thing you do. You cannot battle until you're like level 5 or 6. The first thing Pocket does is throws a pack in your face, and it's like, open it. All right. Well, this is how you open it. This is how it works. All right, open another one. And then now that you've opened both, now you've killed your 2-pack limit for the day. Now this is how you use the currency to get a new pack.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now that you figured that, we'll give you a bunch of currency so you can keep opening packs. And then you open, 20 or 30 packs within your first couple of hours of playing. And then they stop giving you packs like that. But then they open up battling for you.
Right.
And then show you how to battle and stuff. And they have like a beginner, like super beginner, all the way up to expert level. And then like 16 different iterations in between of like...
Oh, wow. No, they just have ranked or casual.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much the same either way. I think but you only level up everything in ranked or something.
There should be a solo mode there, and that will be more of what I'm talking about. Of like that will teach you.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I understand the game. It's just how long it takes and all that I'm like.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
Like you just have to commit so much time into like one round, and then like
if
they have a really good deck and you're aware of it early, now you're just stuck there, forced to lose the whole time. It's like, oh, I'm definitely going to lose this.
That's a big thing in Pokemon, is conceding. Is that if you're midway through a game and you feel like you're not winning, fucking dump it.
Yeah, but what's the point in that?
Well, it's the same way as anything else. So
I never concede.
Oh, yeah, immediately. As soon as
But I don't want a game to feel like I don't even have a chance.
Well, so, like...
I've never had a game where I'm like half... I mean, that's not... I mean, I've played like, oh, I'm losing really bad in this car, you know, in Rocket League, you know, if I'm like 5-0 or something, sure. But, like, you know, there's games where you can almost tell early on, it's like, I don't know, it just kind of feels crappy sometimes when it's like, I don't want to quit. I want to be able to win, but I don't even have a chance.
For sure. So. Yeah, when you're that early, I get it totally.
But yeah, I mean, other than that,
yeah, dude.
it's a good game. That's really, I mean,
that's good to hear. I'm glad you at least checked it out. Like, you know, like, because Pokemon's such a huge part of my life, right? You know, it's like everything that I live and breathe other than video games is Pokemon.
Right. Yeah, it's true.
So, like, even you giving it the time of day is cool.
Yeah, like, I'm not, I mean, I literally updated it this morning. I'm not completely against it.
Yeah.
It's just not something I want to get too into, because it's also one of those games that never ends. I was talking about this to myself this morning.
Yeah.
I've been getting into a lot of games that just never end, like Call of Duty, Fortnite, Pokemon. They're just like constantly leveling up forever games,
right.
And I'm avoiding games that have endings, and I need to do the opposite.
Yeah.
Because I don't have time to commit to getting good at these games that never end. I'm not going to become a Black Ops streamer and put 20 hours a day into, you know, getting good. So it's like, why don't I start playing games that I can beat? Because then the point isn't about getting good. It's about beating it.
Right.
And, you know, experiencing that. So that's another thing I'm trying to do is play less games. That's why I'm like trying to play this one game, that one card game that I was talking about last week, because it actually has an ending, even though it's a card game.
Yeah.
You know, so once I get to the end, I get that same kind of card playing experience. Well, similar to Balatro. I imagine there's an ending to that. I don't really know how that game goes, but Balatro eventually I'll get. So I'm trying to get back into those type of games too, which is why Elden Ring is back on the docket to commit to.
Yeah, Balatro is also forever ending, but you can collect everything.
Right. So yeah, so that's one of those games where at least once you collect everything, then it's like, okay, do I just want to go back and play for a little bit for fun or whatever?
Right.
But
Balatro is very easy to collect everything in relative terms.
Yeah.
Pokemon, that's the whole idea.
Right, it's never ending. It literally never ends.
Gotta catch them all.
Right, exactly. And I have every time I get into something like that, I start thinking about everything else.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, so it's fun though. I'm not against it.
Right. Yeah, man. Well, I'm surprised Pocket's not able to download on your phone.
My phone literally has I don't have a single gig of room on my phone.
Right, because you have like a data leak.
I have like the worst amount of memory on my phone.
Yeah. Can you put a new SD in it?
I just need a new phone. My SD is almost empty. It's not the SD card.
Oh.
It's the internal memory.
Weird. And they won't you can't. Well, I guess you could, but it doesn't matter. But yeah, Pocket when you can play it, it's crazy. They keep updating it. Every Monday is a new something. Every Monday night at 1 a.m. they announce like a new event and then do something. This week is they released their first expansion. It's a mini set. It's like half the size of the original set.
No.
But it's all Mew themed. And Mew Tropical Island themed is the better
That's
way.
Cute.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. They keep doing things where I'm like, yeah, this is great. Keep if this is all it is, I don't need anything else. Trading is coming later. So that's not part of the game yet, but assumingly that will be coming soon. People have had ideas on how they're gonna go about it, but I don't think any of that's true. I think it'll just be a free for all.
Yeah.
When people are like, "Oh, they're gonna limit you to trades a day," and blah 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 blah, I'm like, that would be dumb.
Right.
That'd be so dumb if you're at like Pokemon Worlds or something like that. Like you want unlimited trades, like, and there's no way.
It'll be part of the premium.
Right, but the black market will open up. We're days away from that. Where like these cards aren't worth money yet. They will be soon.
Yeah.
And people are going to find a way to start paying for it. Because people already pay for Pokemon Go, like, Pokemon and stuff like that. Like, if I wanted to go buy a level 100 Charizard on Pokemon Go, I could go do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's only a matter of time. And just like the real card game, there will be some that will go for an exorbitant amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much people will care about. I imagine people will care about it, but like the actual video game part of this is doing its job.
Right.
Where like battling is definitely secondary, but it's there and it's people are going heavy at it. I'd say I'm good. You know, I'm not winning everything, but like I'd say 3 out of 4 matches. You know.
Right.
It took me some time to get there for sure. You know, like I think I have like 1,300 cards in total.
Jesus. Yeah.
And you know, a deck is 40 cards. That's all that matters. So it speaks to what you're saying of like, yeah, you might not have the right cards, but there's so many cards. And the difference between live and pocket is live is all of the real cards. It's every single existing card set as of now in the real card game. Versus pocket is only pocket. Like those cards are specific to that game.
For that game,
and the way that they...
Because it's smaller, so they had to kind of like...
Right.
Shrink some things down.
They got rid of resistances.
Right.
A lot of the supporters aren't there. We talked about stadiums. Those don't exist yet in the game. Like there's some of the tech there that's not... It's not in the game yet.
Yeah.
Who knows if it'll come. I hope it does, because I played... My deck is very tech heavy, where like the whole idea of my cards is like me trying to burn through your shit as fast as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want you to be able to put all your bench Pokemon on the field. I want to see everything you got real fast. I want to try to get rid of it, and then I want you to burn through your supporters as fast as possible.
Right.
That's a big thing. Or I have my Gengar, who his ability is you can't use any supporter cards. The opponent can't use any supporter cards. So if I get that out, then half your deck is fucked.
Right.
Unless if you have items, which, I mean, there's items that counteract it. And that's a big thing, is just with any other card game, is knowing what cards do.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't feel like Live teaches you a good way of, like, because it has so many options, it doesn't give you a good guidance. It just shows... In the solo campaign, it'll show you like different types of decks, and then you can kind of like, I think you can even use those decks in your battle, and stuff, but you can kind of adjust it from there. Versus live, it kind of does that, but you have like rental theme decks and stuff like that as well, where you only have like 10 fights with this Charizard deck, but you'll be able to learn a Charizard deck. So, you know, it's cool little stuff like that I think helps you learn that side of the card game fast, but it doesn't teach you everything.
Right.
But that's why it's so much shorter and stuff too. 6 prize cards in live, you have 3 prize cards in pocket. So that's a big difference as well. It's like, I think the longest match I've had is 20 minutes long, but I'd say most matches are in the 10-minute range.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Yeah, not at all. No, that is the one thing I've been playing nonstop of, like... I mean, once a day, I'll as soon as I get home from work, open up my 2-packs, play a battle or 2, and then, you know, move on with my day from there.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's there, and it feels nice to actually have something like TCG Live is on my phone, but, like, I don't ever open it.
Yeah.
And it being ranked is, like, whatever. You can go to Pokemon Worlds with it and stuff like that. I imagine Pocket will be the same. you get points like you do in live as well. So every time you battle, you get battle points. If you win, the more points you get, the more up the ranks you go. Stuff like that. So if you are a person who just loves battling, theoretically you could get up pretty high up in the ranking. But there's not like an actual ranking system. Like it's not telling you you're number 340 out of 2.
You're not gonna, right.
Yeah.
Just have to kind of imagine it.
Right. Also, Pokemon Pocket's made an insane amount of money. That's the one thing that of news that I would bring with this, is that it's made like $300 million within its first couple of weeks.
I bet,
it's insane.
It's a very popular franchise.
Yeah, right. I mean, it was no shit moment, but also like mobile games don't do that. Like not even Pokemon Go was that popular. Like this is a big deal.
That's true. That's true.
Well, Pokemon Go is different, where it's like it was very popular download wise, but like you can just catch a Pokemon.
You don't have to put money in it, even if like you really want to.
Right.
You can kind of just wait it out.
But if you want to open more than 2 packs a day,
right,
you're putting money into it.
It's like, oh, I don't have to go to the store to open a pack. Okay.
Yeah, 100%. And I know people like day one who dropped like $100.
For sure.
Yeah, it was like I think $20 you can open 10 packs at once. It's just like, here you can buy $20 worth of Pokegold, and then this much Pokegold you can open up 10 packs at once.
It's
like, all right, and then it shows you all of the cards that from all 10 packs.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
Yeah, it's weird, but it's cool. See, I told you. I was like, we could hear everything. Yeah, man. Yeah, I don't know. Anything else? Anything else you want to leave it with?
No.
I think that's an episode.
I think I'm talked out.
Yeah. Yeah, you look tired. You look
hungry.
Like you're so
That's
hungry.
what it really is.
Me too. Well, let's go get food. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, thank you so much for all the new people here. Very much. It's so much love for everyone watching. And hopefully you guys will continue on with us. We are a couple weeks away from January 1st, but we will be back next week like nothing happened. Maybe next week's Christmas, so it's a weird one. We might do it a day before, or we might do it a day after. We will see how it goes, so we'll play it by ear. If not, we'll be back the week after.
Yeah, eventually. I mean, the holidays are coming up, so we'll...
Right. It's either next week or 2 weeks from now. But yeah, no worries. Thank you so much, Patrick.
Yeah.
It's always a blast. Been fun, guys. It's been real. Peace out, Cubs Cubs. Bye!